the show. Aiming for a headshot, going non-stop. Faster than sound. High and ground. My dream could blow. If you're in it, spin me around. Make it loud. I want to fly like a bullet. Take me high like a bullet. Would you be my trigger? Would you be my trigger? Would you be my trigger? Take me high if you bullet. Would you be my trigger? I was turning into a ghost, trying to save the world on my own. So bring me back to life. Never been so ready to go. Waiting for a hell of a show. Aiming for a headshot, going non-stop. Faster than sound. High and ground. My dream could blow any minute. I need to know if you're in it. Spin me around. Make it loud. I want to fly like a bullet. Take me high.
If it's Thursday, that means it's the Thursday Night Thunder Series. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth tonight. We're bringing you race number 9, the Nutcracker 250 in the Gen 4 ARCA cars of the TNT Series tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway. NASCAR has been racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway since its inception in the early 1960s. Once adorned with rugged rocks and boulders, this sprawling 550-acre property, originally owned by North Carolina's inaugural governor, Nathaniel Alexander, also welcomed the presence of George Washington nearly 250 years ago. The track itself was meticulously designed and constructed by the dynamic duo of Bruton Smith and Curtis Turner. Turner, who was a renowned figure of his time as a moonshiner, had speed and handling at the forefront of his mind when conceiving this intermediate 1.5-mile circuit featuring corners steeply banked at 24 degrees. Furthermore, the duo envisioned it as an ultimate test of endurance for both drivers and their machines, even playing host to the very first 600-mile race for stock cars. Chris, we're going 375 miles tonight. Decades later, the Charlotte Motor Speedway continues to embrace innovation. In 1992, it made history by hosting the inaugural NASCAR night race. And in 2011, it achieved a Guinness World Record with the unveiling of the world's largest HD TV at a sports venue, spanning nearly 16,000 square feet. Chris, this was a track that almost never was. After opening in 1960, owners discovered massive amounts of granite needed to be removed. Very expensive process. As a result, it ran out of money less than a year later and declared bankruptcy. Fortunately for us, however, track owners were able to quickly work to raise the capital needed to keep the speedway afloat and make it into what it's become today. What are these drivers going to have to do in order to make sure they don't go bankrupt on the track tonight and make it to the finish of this 250-lap race up front?
Well, let's start right there. It's 250 laps, a marathon of a race, by far the longest race of this TNT season. This is a crown jewel racetrack. This is kind of the crown jewel race of this series, of this league, and so drivers want to definitely make sure that they are around at the finish of this thing and able to compete for the win. We expect about 60 laps on a tank of fuel, so at least 4 stops expected. A lot of those are probably going to be green flag pit stops. And a big field tonight compared to some of our past weeks. Got 21 cars here and some high tire degradation expected on this 1.5-mile crown jewel racetrack.
Chris, lots of drivers tonight, lots of storylines that we're going to be following closely in this final third of the regular season for the TNT Series starting tonight at Charlotte. We're going to get to those stories momentarily after we hit a Slingshot Racing Media fan favorite pre-race tradition, the playing of the national anthem. Everybody rise and remove your caps if able. We'll be back on the other end of this. All right, back here from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway for Slingshot Racing Media and TNT Series. It's Ellis and Chris in the booth tonight with the call. We're back in the studio for a moment to check out some of the stories to set this race up for the fans at home. Thank you for joining us, fans. Let us know who you are, who you're rooting for tonight in the YouTube chat. If you're watching right now, drop us a line. Say hey. Let's talk about these point standings, Chris. Major shakeup week after week. The past 2 weeks have seen the points lead going back and forth between a couple of drivers. Levi Cox took the lead a few races ago, I should say. And then 2 weeks ago at Talladega, Aaron Smith claimed the victory kind of in a thrilling last lap finish. And you can see these two drivers are neck and neck in the points headed into the final 3 races or the final 4 races of the regular season. Anyone you think might be able to get up into the mix with those guys?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough right now where they're currently at, just based upon what we've seen so far this season. We've seen Gregory Sheps has kind of been a driver maybe to contend with those guys, but unfortunately for him, he is not here tonight, it doesn't look like. So Chase Leahy, Chris Blassie, those guys aren't too far behind, so maybe they can make up some ground tonight.
Yeah, we'll be looking to see those drivers make up ground with good runs tonight on the track. You can see how tight that points battle is. Outside of second place, you've got drivers really third all the way through ninth, just 40 points separating them. And Chris, all that leads up to the final 3 races of the season, the final 3-race chase, playoffs, so to speak. All drivers in the top 12 will be, or the top 10 will be re-racked within 50 points of each other with 5-point increments. So you're not out of it. Even someone like Tony Burleson, Joshua Kerner, or David Reichman, right kind of on the edge of the top 10, they can get right back into it if they hit a hot streak later on in the final portion of this season. We'll be following those points closely, Chris, but let's talk about a couple more stories to follow tonight. And let's just start with the track itself. We talked about the construction of the track, what it's made up of, and how much it tests man and machine. We're going to see multiple grooves tonight. You've got drivers we watched in practice running the inside, but you've also got drivers ripping fast laps on the high line. Talk to us a little bit about what we might expect to see out of some of the drivers tonight over the course of the evening.
Well, I was speaking with a few of the drivers in the pre-race, and we were watching them as well also in the practice session. It seemed like a few drivers were able to get up on the top lane and rip off some fast laps during the practice session. So that tells us that, there is speed up in that top lane, but are you going to have the staying power up there? That kind of leads into our second story, Ellis, about saving those tires. I'm not sure that you'll be able to do it. I think that maybe if you move up to the top later in the run and you've maybe conserved the tires at the beginning of the run, I think that maybe you can possibly make some ground at that point. But that's going to be a story that we're going to have to keep our eyes on.
Going to be keeping an eye on that. We're also going to be keeping an eye on pit stops, talking about tires. Drivers looking like they've got about 60 laps of fuel in the tank tonight. If we are to have a green flag stretch, which we hope we do, these drivers are going to have their skills tested once more coming onto pit road, Chris. We were talking in before the pre-race a little bit about how many pit road speeding penalties we've seen. Lots of mistakes on pit road this season as drivers kind of become acclimated to these cars and each other. I think we might be seeing that again tonight if we get some green flag pit stops. Drivers are going to have to be really careful. We've seen it twice at least this season where drivers have had faulty pit stops or pit road speeding penalties cost them a chance at the win. What do you have to do if you're coaching a driver to get onto pit road? What are you telling that driver kind of as they're getting ready to approach their drop-off zone?
Well, just that, you definitely can't win the race probably getting onto pit road, but you can definitely lose the race. And I think a lot of it boils down to drivers, that are fighting tooth and nail to, make up ground, like, possibly on, a championship rival. When you talk about how close the points are in certain spots. And so some drivers are looking at, the ability to possibly be able to gain some ground. It is so hard. It's so tempting to think that, man, I can charge my pit road entry right here and I can possibly be able to make up a lot of ground there. But I wouldn't say that Charlotte is notorious for being a difficult pit road to get onto. It's also one of the free tracks that comes with the iRacing service. So it's probably a track that drivers are, used to getting on a pit road to, compared to maybe some other tracks that we go to throughout the season. That being said, anything can happen. And when you have as many green flag pit stops as we possibly will have tonight, we're definitely have to keep our eyes on that.
Chris, we mentioned it a couple times, this is the longest race of the season, 250 laps, 375 miles. It's the longest race these drivers are going to see this season. What are you doing if you're a driver trying to prepare not only to kind of run those many laps like physically, but mentally? How difficult is it to stay in the game for 250 laps as a driver?
Ellis, I don't really know if I have the experience with these types of long races on ovals, but if I was in a race like this, I think that I would probably have the mindset that we normally have when we run an endurance race. The Rolex 24 Daytona is coming up here. It'll be here in about a month's time, right? And so, I think that I would have the mentality maybe that we typically have for that. Maybe give up some spots at the very beginning of the race if things are a little bit crazy around you. And attrition will normally take care of it, take care of your position in the running order as you go throughout a long race like this, especially if there's not many cautions. Mistakes on pit road, people rubbing the wall on corner exit, these types of things will, drivers abusing their tires, these types of things will usually sort of even themselves out. And, even if you're not setting a blistering pace, you can find yourself closer to the front.
We'll be keeping an eye on drivers moving through the field tonight. And Chris, speaking of moving through the field, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup tonight for the Nutcracker 250. Newcomer, first time on the track this season with the TNT Series, Braxton DeWeese. Chris, we've seen him race in the Slingshot Racing League before. He's on the pole tonight. He's one to be reckoned with. These drivers are going to have their work cut out for him if they're going to take down Braxton in that 33 car. Sean Anderson, another newcomer to the TNT Series, starting on the outside of DeWeese in second. Levi Cox, Chris, we've talked about him all season long. He is strong. He's fast. He's starting third tonight. His championship rival, Aaron Smith, second, starting right to his outside in fourth position. Newcomer to the TNT Series, Cody Johnson, going to be starting fifth tonight in that 08 car, followed by Chase Leahy in the 34, who's had some strong runs this season, but just hasn't been able to find the results he's looking for to get to victory lane. Maybe that might be tonight. Matt Garrett starting seventh in the number 3. Anthony Burleson, we've seen him have speed the past couple of weeks. He's going to be starting from the outside of row 4 and 8th. Robert Walton starting 9th in the 66. Justin Clapper on the outside of row 5. He's got to come from 10th tonight in that number 63. Travis Stroney starting 11th in the 44. He's a newcomer tonight as well. Ricky Mandela Sr. starting 12th in that number 28. 13th place is going to be Joshua Kerner on the inside of row 7, with Kyle Chafin in that number 17 starting to his outside in 14th. Tyler Dalton, newcomer to the TNT Series as well, going to be starting off in the 15th position in that 48. Chris Blassie, he will be one to watch tonight in that 15 car, starting in 16th. Steven Lashinsky starting 17th in that 99, followed by newcomer Bo Condon in the 24, starting 18th tonight. Glenn Grimm starting from 19th. He's got his work cut out for him if he's going to get to the front in that 19 car. Nicholas Tomlinson starting 21st in that number 22 car. And then Michael Benton going to be bringing up the rear of the field in the 29 car, starting 22nd tonight. Chris, 22 drivers. This is one of our biggest fields of the season and the biggest race of the season. The Nutcracker 250 is just about to get underway. Cars rolling off their starting grid to get going in about a lap here, Chris. Boy, I can sense the energy, the anticipation. We've seen some cool paint schemes for the Nutcracker 250, Christmas-themed paint schemes. We'll talk about some of these over the course of the evening. But what are you telling your driver here as we get ready for a start of a race where I think you're going to have a lot of drivers want to move pretty quick to gain some positions out of the gate? You telling your driver to do that, or are you telling him just to take it easy here on the first few laps?
Yeah, I think I'm going to tell him to take it a little bit easy. 250 laps around here. I'm definitely going to try to be pacing myself. There's going to be some drivers who are going to try to rip the fence early on here to try to gain some track position, and that's an okay strategy. You can definitely pick off a few guys doing that. But I'm going to be telling my driver, if I was a crew chief, keep it right there on that white and blue line all the way around the bottom right there, and those guys will probably come back to you later in the run.
I think you're right. Tires are going to be at a premium here. Right now, pace car getting ready to pull off to lead Braxton DeWeese and Sean Anderson to the green flag. 2 cars up front, got a lot of speed along with the rest of the field. It's in the hands of the flagman. DeWeese waits for it. And there it is. We are underway for the Nutcracker 250 in the TNT Series. Race number 9 is green. Deweese there on the inside. He's got Sean Anderson in that white and red car to the outside. Deweese gets about 2 car lengths out front. Now the battle's going to be for second between Anderson and Levi Cox, who's eager to gain a spot on the inside. They rocket down the backstretch for the first time tonight. Cody Johnston back there in 4th position, followed by Aaron Smith, who has slipped back a single position to 5th. Single file top 5. Chase Leahy, he's got some company now on the inside. That is Matt Garrett in 6th position. That's your first side-by-side battle on the track. Leahy's going to stick to the outside as they roll down into turn number 1 and 2. Leahy continues to hang tough there. We'll see if he gets a run off the corner. Car loose behind them. That looks like it was Justin Clapper back there in the 63 for a moment. A little bit of a wiggle, Chris.
Yeah, a little bit of a wiggle right there as these drivers are, Levi Cox all over the back bumper of Braxton Deweese right here. These cars don't look very stable to me right now, Ellis, early on in the run. It looks like that sun beating down on that track, from these temperatures right here, making these cars a little bit loose.
Yeah, and this is one of the things we were talking about kind of before we got the broadcast going, Chris, tonight, how these cars are handling. You mentioned a couple drivers said they were pretty stable, but I'm not seeing that right now as we've mentioned it. Levi Cox takes over the lead from Braxton Deweese, that number 33. The second place runner in the points, Levi Cox, now to the point here. He gets about 3 car lengths out in front of Deweese. It's Cox, Deweese, Anderson, Johnson back and forth. He's got a battle with Matt Garrett, Chris, one of the fastest movers on the track right now, is in that number 3 car, rolling to the outside. I believe he's showing up as the 19 car in the sim right now. But Chris, let's talk about this strategy. I've seen that 19 wrapping the wall here for the past several laps, running that outside line. What do you think of that strategy?
I think it's okay to gain some ground, to maybe gain us some spots. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I would just be very hesitant to stay up there, even after you maybe made the pass. If I get back in line, or if once I get single file, maybe I'd go back to the bottom right here. But he's seeming confident. He likes what he's feeling up there on that top lane. It looks like Sean Anderson sees him coming, and he's going to give him that top lane.
I think that's probably a wise choice. You mentioned now we're 5 laps in. Matt Garrett, I should say, has been riding that outside line really the entirety of this race. 1 car almost in the wall, I believe that was Chase Leahy back in the 6th and 7th position. But right now, it's all Levi Cox. He's taking the lead from Braxton Deweese. He's stretched it out to about 3 or 4 car lengths. Deweese keeping touch, but Chris, Matt Garrett is the car to watch right now, at least on the short run here. We talked about handling. He doesn't seem to be having any issues as Braxton Deweese. It looks like he's going to be the next victim falling into Matt Garrett's clutch as they race down into turn number 3. Cox really hasn't gotten away, and you mentioned it, Chris. I see that rear end of Cox is wiggling just a little bit, center off in turns 3 and 4. These drivers definitely have a handful, and Matt Garrett is almost there to the back bumper of Braxton Deweese down into turn 1.
Yeah, he's definitely gaining ground right here. He's got that top lane moving right there. USA Clams machine right there.
You a big clam guy?
I'm not a big clam guy. I was wondering, I was trying to rack my brain. I think this might be a Truex, like before he was with DEI paint scheme, or maybe Mark Truex Sr. I'm not sure. I could be totally wrong.
It would make
about
sense with that number 19 and that Martin Truex font. I think you're probably right about that. I'm not an expert at it either. Hey, in the chat, thanks everyone for showing up so far. Connor Lyons, Mercedes F1 fan 2024, Joshua Kerner, Chris Deweese, welcome back. We're glad you're tuning in to watch Braxton tonight. Kyle Ingram as well. David Reichman's in the chat. Everyone, let us know what driver you're rooting for. Hey, another question. How do you like your clams? Do you like clams, and how do you like them served? Let us know in the chat as we watch that USA Clams car wrapping the top. Now to second, Chris. I think Levi Cox is going to be not a big fan of clams here in a moment if this pans out like it looks like it will.
Yeah, I don't think so either, as we got a battle going on right here between the 63 of Justin Clapper and the 44 of Travis. Did we say Strojny? Is that what we say?
Let's make that J silent. Let's just go Strony.
Strony,
We could be completely off. If you know Travis in the chat, let us know how the pronunciation should be. But right now, no matter how you pronounce it, that 44 is up to 7th position. 4 spots gained for Travis so far.
Yeah, he's definitely moving forward right here. He's right here behind the back bumper of the number 20 of Sean Anderson. Anderson loses the spots here early on. Not as many as Aaron Smith, who is all the way back in the 12th spot, Ellis.
Yeah, and I think that's strategic. We used to, the first times we watched Aaron Smith race, Chris, I think we used to kind of not get excited, but definitely our stress levels for Aaron went up a little bit when he would start to drop back on these long runs. But I think we're seeing Aaron Smith just play the Aaron Smith game and save those tires. He always finds a way to get back up front, and I don't anticipate that being any different tonight here at Charlotte. 11 laps in the books. It's Cox, Garrett, Chafin now, Chris, up to third position. Am I reading that right? 11 positions gained for that 17 here in the first 11 laps. That's an average of a pass a lap. Boy, you don't see that happen that often, especially at a track like Charlotte. But right now, the biggest pass we're going to be watching is Matt Garrett going for the lead here on Levi Cox on lap 12. He's staying true to the strategy. They say, dance with the one that brung you, and Matt Garrett is definitely doing that right now as they race off of turn 2, down the back straightaway now, past the big TV screen, down into turn 3. The lead now belongs to Matt Garrett. That number 19 USA Clams car takes the point from Levi Cox, who drops to second. One car loose. Justin Clapper, I believe, in that 63 got loose off of turn 4 through the tri-oval. He's in fourth position as he passes Braxton DeWeese. And in the chat, I want to point out, I think Braxton DeWeese is on the same strategy as Aaron Smith right now, Chris.
Yeah.
Just cruising, according to one of his team members in the chat right now, as he slips back to the 6th position, losing 5th to Sean Anderson in the 20.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It looks like he is just, trying to take it easy. Got a few guys right here that I think are trying to take it easy. I think Chase Leahy is also maybe looking after that right front on his car. I think maybe the 08 of Cody Johnson is as well. You can just kind of watch the way some of these guys charge the corners. The guys who take the big, long, sweeping arcs, and the guys who, maybe shoot up the track a little bit in the middle of the corner. I think that they are just pushing a little bit hard. And you know what? It might be okay. I mean, they might, wind up being okay. They might feel like they have the best understanding of this. But, guys like Braxton DeWeese, Aaron Smith, Chase Leahy, Cody Johnson, I think that they're just trying to take it a little bit easy right now.
I think you're absolutely right. Robert Walton making the pass on Chase Leahy. Chris, what do you have to do? We've mentioned saving tires already. We're going to continue to have that kind of on the tip of our tongue all evening long. For the viewers at home who might be iRacers, or maybe they're not, maybe they're just watching a friend or family member, what do you do to save tires in these cars? How can you save tires while you're driving?
It's just about, being easy on the throw. Oh, man, we got some close action right there on the front stretch between the 17 of Chafin and the 63 of Clapper. They get it all straightened out right there. It's just all about being easy on the throttle, being smooth with your steering inputs. We got a battle for the lead right here. It looks like Levi Cox is coming back after Garrett Ellis.
Yeah, Levi Cox says, I don't know, I'll let you lead a couple of laps, but I think I want to take that back. How much of that do you think is maybe tires right now? Levi Cox took it a little bit easier as he slides up on the exit of turn 4, almost into the left side of that number 3, or 19, I should say, of Matt Garrett. Our tires already starting to play a factor here, 17 laps into this 250-lap race, Chris?
Possibly. We didn't see what happened to the 19. There's a possibility that maybe he, had to squeeze up out of the throttle on corner exit. Maybe had a moment because he is going to get back here in front of Levi Cox. So we'll watch this battle here for a little bit to see if Levi's able to gain some ground on Matt. But, kind of coming back to the point that we were talking about earlier, Ellis, about drivers saving tires. It's just about being easy on the throttle, being easy with the steering wheel. I think the drivers who take I shouldn't say a direct line, but, aren't, going from the top of the track, sweeping down to the bottom of the track on corner entry. I think that those are the drivers who, are using the geometry to their benefits. This is a game of geometry really here, I think, to save tires. Oh man, Levi Cox lost the car.
The lead. Very loose in that number 1. Levi Cox sideways, Chris. That's the second time in about 3 laps that we've seen the 1 struggle on the exit of turn 4 underneath the 19. How much of kind of maybe the side force or just the difference in air as you get side by side with the car might have upset that number 1? Did that play a role, you think?
Well, I think that naturally you want to be able to use the track up on corner exit. Levi right here is in line with Matt, and so he's able to use up, all the track on corner exit. But when you are inside of a guy, you got to keep that thing sort of bogged down a little bit more. And if you keep it bogged down towards the bottom, keep that steering wheel input to the left, it scrubs off speed. But not only that, it might enable you to get a little bit loose as well, especially as we get more laps on the tires, working lap number 20 right here.
Yeah, we are 20 laps into the 250-lap Nutcracker 250, and it's nearly neck and neck for the lead. Matt Garrett and Levi Cox jockeying back and forth for the lead position right now. Sean Anderson kind of waiting patiently back in third. Travis Stroney up 7 positions in that number 44. He's got a little battle going on with Justin Clapper in that 63 right now, with Kyle Chafin kind of joining in. Hey, speaking of joining in, if you've joined in the chat, if you're watching right now on YouTube, we cannot thank you enough. We're glad to bring you these races on a weekly basis. We're gearing up to bring you 2 races a week here in the new year, maybe even more. If you like what you're seeing, if you want to see more, go ahead and make sure to hit that subscribe button underneath the video so you can be notified anytime we put out a new live broadcast, or you want to watch the replay. We've got some other videos as well, track guides, some product reviews, and things like that. And Chris, we are even giving away a free Dale Earnhardt Jr. diecast as we watch Levi Cox take the lead right back from Matt Garrett. You can get that link to enter the diecast giveaway in the video description. It's an autographed Dale Earnhardt Jr. 1/24th scale diecast of his Oreo paint scheme from 2002. Doesn't get much better than that, and we're giving it away for absolutely free to one of our subscribers. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and find the link to enter that contest in your video description, Chris. This is an interesting and exciting battle for the lead right now, headed down into turn 1. These drivers kind of swapped that position back and forth. And what it's done, Chris, is it's allowed Sean Anderson in the 20 to get right into this fight. A driver that started in the 2nd position, lost it early, is right back into the fight here as they head down into turn 3 on lap 23.
Yeah, Ellis, I was going to say, I think Sean Anderson, I saw him working the top after he slid back pretty far, on the opening stages of the race. He's looking to the inside right here of Matt Garrett. But he started moving to the top a little bit later than all these guys who, were coming through the field quickly. Looks like he's gone back to the bottom right here. I think he's gone back into tire conservation mode. So I think maybe he was using the top as a passing gear almost to get around some of these guys who had previously worked their way around him. But yeah, he's on his way back up here into the top 3 and see if he can do something with these 2 leaders.
Yeah, Robert Walton, Chris, back in 6th position. Let's talk about Robert trying to go for the 5th position here momentarily if he can get back up to Kyle Chafin. He is up 3 positions. This is one of the strongest runs we've seen for that 66 all season early on. After starting in the 9th position, he is up to 6th position. He's got a fast little hot rod under him in that Bass Pro Shops number 66. Looking pretty good tonight out there.
He is. He's moving on up through the field right here, and looks like he's got that thing. He looks like he's working the top lane right here in the corner, and it looks like that steering wheel. You can kind of see he's got those yellow gloves in there. He's holding a pretty wheel right there through turns 3 and 4. So that's what you like to see, especially in a long race like this one.
Hey, speaking of loving to see it, Sean Anderson is loving seeing that rear bumper of Levi Cox right now get a little bit bigger and bigger every lap. It might be this lap down into turn 3. We're going to have a pass for the lead. Sean Anderson looking to return up front after losing the spot early on the outside. Wiggles a little bit, but he's going to carry a lot of momentum off the top corner, Chris. As we mentioned, it looks like Levi Cox going to shut that door for just a moment, but can only do it for so long. Looks like this pass might be inevitable for the number 20 on the outside.
Yeah, it might be. He's going to have the momentum up here on the top, and man, racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway is great, Ellis. And if you want to know why, just look at that shot right there through turns 1 and 2. One driver all the way up on the wall and one digging on the bottom. You love to see it.
You love to see it. A table full of options, just hopefully like your Thanksgiving table a couple of weeks ago. I know I had my fair share. One car side by side with another. Almost contact there between, looks like the 44 of Travis Stroney and Matt Garrett on that exit to turn 4. That was close. You couldn't have slid a sheet of paper in between those 2 cars, Chris, and looks like both are going to live to fight another day. Stroney got the better end of that one, with Garrett losing a couple spots, including another one to Kyle Chafin there, who's going to move up to 4th position.
Yeah, and Stroney right here in the center of turns 3 and 4. That car is looking really, I mean, he's a little bit sideways. That car looks a little bit loose to me. Looks like he was fighting it right there in the center of the corner. But he's definitely making up some ground right here, up 8 spots from his starting position of 11th. So he's one definitely to keep an eye on, Ellis. I think that if you're looking for drivers who have charged up through the field right here to see what kind of staying power they're going to have, you see Matt Garrett kind of sliding back a little bit. But Stroney up here in the in the 3rd spot. We'll see if he has any type of staying power as this run progresses.
Hey, we got a Kyle Stroney fan in the chat right now. Looks like Killshot rooting on Kyle Stroney. Let's go 44. He says, also, Chris, we got an international presence tonight. Kyle Ingram in the chat saying he had dinner 7 hours ago. Connor replied with a shocked emoji, and Kyle said, in England, though. So I don't know if that's a joke or he actually is in England and he had dinner 7 hours ago.
I did see him talking earlier in the chat, and he said that he was joining us from England, so we're happy to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks for joining in, Kyle. We are hopefully bringing you some great action tonight, and hopefully it gets even better here. Lap 30 of 250, Sean Anderson has jumped out to the lead. It's about a quarter of a second over Levi Cox, who still stalks the number 20 back there in 2nd position. Travis Stroney, we just mentioned, up to 3rd position. Kyle Chafin having a pretty good run, up 10 positions on the evening in that number 17 car. He's got Cody Johnson, Chris, who started 5th. He has held station in that 08 car right now, locked into the 5th position. Cody Johnson, another another TNT Series newcomer in that 08. Got looks like a Christmas paint scheme going on in that 08 as he stalks the number 17 of Kyle Chafin, looking to see if he can get by. I think that might be maybe that's not a Christmas paint scheme. I gotta get my eyesight checked.
Well, Ellis, he's another driver that I think we need to watch as this run goes on. He fell back early in this run. He started in the 5th spot, but he lost some spots early. So I think he was just, really looking after those tires, and looks like he's decided that he's going to start moving, or not necessarily that he's decided to start moving. I think he's maintaining his pace, and maybe all the other drivers around him are maybe just falling off a little bit too much, a little bit more than they would like.
Yeah. He's one of the fastest cars on the track, in the top 3 in terms of speed. He's working on getting to the top 3 in terms of position on the track. He's in 4th position, just getting by Kyle Chafin just a moment ago. Now he's going to set sail on Travis Stroney, who definitely does have a Santa Claus-themed paint scheme in that number 44. Chris, have you made your wish list for Santa yet?
I have, but there's no guarantees that I will be getting anything this Christmas. So, because only good guys get gifts.
Are you on the naughty list?
I think so. I think I will be. I hope not, but there is always that possibility.
Yeah, well, let's hope Santa doesn't use advanced AI to build the naughty and nice list, and it's even more accurate than it has been in the past.
Ellis, yeah. I got my only wish that I really wanted for this Christmas. I planned it out several months ago as Cody Johnson looks at the inside of Stroney right here for the 3rd spot. I graduated college, Ellis.
Wow, congratulations are in order for the graduate. I know you're working on all your final papers and tests and all that. Hopefully it feels like it's worth it. I know there's probably a little bit of a bump that comes with it, but now we can officially say we have the same degree, I think.
That's right. Yep. So got that all done. Finally happy to have that completed, and that was really my big Christmas wish that I had, several months ago, is that I would be done with this by the time Christmas came around.
You did a great job. I know that it was well-deserved. Hey, Alan's Art Images in the chat saying hi. They are supporting Braxton DeWeese's vehicle tonight. That special Christmas paint scheme has new Carlisle and Alan's Art Images on the hood and the quarter panels tonight. So doing them proud. I know that car is a fast one tonight for DeWeese. He's in 7th position in that number 33. That's just a good-looking paint scheme. There's something about a navy blue paint scheme that just is super appealing, not to mention having some snow on it. And Braxton doing a good job right now in that number 33. We've seen him race in Slingshot Racing League before, Chris. He's a formidable driver, and he's won a couple of championships in the 87 cars for Slingshot Racing League. And how similar, I say this probably knowing the answer as we watch Aaron Smith working on a pass right in front of him on Kyle Chafin, the 17. How similar are these ARCA cars in terms of handling to those 87 old stock cars that Braxton's so good at?
I don't know that I'm the best person to ask, but just by watching them, I don't know how similar they are. The 87s, everything just happens. Like, you got to plan moves out like way far in advance, and I just don't think that they're that similar. So, we've seen Braxton in a lot of vehicles, though. He's a very diverse driver, and he adapts to all different types of vehicles very quickly. And I'm not surprised at all. I think there's 3 cars that look really good that are coming up through the field right now, Les. I think the 08, the 70, and the 33 all look like they got some good attitude to their vehicles.
Yep, I think you are absolutely right. As we watch some of these cars threading their way through the pack right now, Aaron Smith just making the pass there on Travis Stroney in the 44. Santa getting passed by the... Aaron Smith doesn't run a different paint scheme very often, but I respect the effort tonight. TNT challenged drivers to bring out a special Christmas-themed paint scheme, and Aaron Smith really did a number on that usual just solid neon yellow 70. Looks like a Christmas sweater sort of situation going on for the 70 with some pretty cool patterns, and I like that one. I think that was what my vote was for earlier in the Discord chat.
Yeah, and let's do a little check-in with Aaron Smith right here. Get a read on his pulse right here, and yeah, he was just making several passes right there. So when we checked in, we saw that pulse all the way up to 113 beats per minute right there. It looks like he is kind of stabilized right around in that region, about 110, 11, 12. So, I guess Ellis, and I'm not trying to insult Aaron when I say this, but could you say that is an ugly sweater?
It's definitely an ugly sweater car. I think you are absolutely right. So someone I know, I think it was Kyle in the chat, was asking what drivers get tonight if they win. The winner of the race gets a $20 cash prize. They're also giving away a hard charger prize to the driver that passes the most cars over the course of the evening. That's $10. And also they're going to draw a random number for finisher. And that finisher whose random finish position is drawn will receive $10 as well. So lots on the line tonight, not just bragging rights, but a little sum of cash, some Christmas spending money, if you will, on the line here. Lap number 42. We suspect we're about 18 to 20 laps away from pit stops, Chris, and I can't imagine let's get this green flag ad break in momentarily before we start talking about pit stops. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to hear from the partners of this series, Sim Wrap Market, as well as Pocket Crew Chief. We'll be back on the other end of this break. Stick around for more great racing action.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your Pocket Crew Chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
Back here live from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway for the TNT Series in the Slingshot booth tonight. It's Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith bringing you live racing action at race number 9 here from the TNT Series. Chris, we mentioned it. Pass for the lead, kind of maybe incoming here shortly. Levi Cox and Sean Anderson, as well as Cody Johnson, losing a lot of ground in the last couple of laps. to the likes of Aaron Smith, Braxton DeWeese, and Travis Stroney in that number 44. All of those drivers tend to be running faster laps right now. Have the top three kind of shown their hand and use those tires up a little bit too early in the closing stages of this first run of the evening.
Well, it seems like Cody Johnson here in the 08, I think he's still gaining ground on the 1 and the 20 in front of him, both Levi Cox and Sean Anderson. Seems like he's kind of, gaining a little bit, but Aaron Smith and Braxton DeWeese seem like they're gaining a little bit more, a little bit quicker, so I think it's going to make a very interesting battle here in the top 5 as we get close to the green flag pit stops, which as a broadcaster we love. Here we are at the end of the run, and we've got 5 drivers right on top of each other.
Yeah, you can't ask for better racing so far. 48 laps in, now hitting lap 49. Levi Cox is scored as the leader. He's got Sean Anderson about 3 cars back. Then it's 8 cars back to Cody Johnson and another 8 back to Aaron Smith, with Braxton DeWeese closing in ever so slightly every single lap. I think we're going to have a great race coming to these green flag pit stops in what we believe is about 8 to 9 laps. Chris, does anyone try the short pit here? Do they come in maybe a couple laps early and test the waters to see if they can't pick up a little bit of time on track with those fresh tires? What do you think?
I definitely think we could see some drivers at about the lap 50 mark, which we are reaching that point right here. I think you see some drivers, this might be their cue to possibly make some pit stops, because at this stage of the race, Ellis, just to give you an idea right here, Levi Cox's last lap, and I'll go ahead and change the ticker right here so you can see the last lap, ran a 32.309. His fastest lap is a 30.837. That is 2.5 seconds of fall off right here, Ellis. These drivers, I mean, their tires are hurting right now.
And you can hear it on the track. I've got my audio turned up a little bit, but I can hear the tire noises just kind of increasing every single lap. Drivers just sliding around a little bit with a pass for the lead. Sean Anderson in that number 20 on the inside. He's doing battle with Levi Cox on the outside. They're going to exit turn 2 down the back straightaway past the big screen TV. It's going to be Anderson on the inside. Cox gets that momentum on that outside line. He's going to close the door on Sean Anderson, who's looking to get back to the inside. He rotates just a little bit better through turns 3 and 4, and now he's going to try to slip to the inside. Cox shuts the door. Cox will lead that lap. Number 51 goes to Cox. Sean Anderson less than a car length behind, but Cody Johnson and Aaron Smith have closed in even more, Chris. That gap has continued to shrink, and it's going to be a 4-car battle coming to the green flag pit stops here. How badly do you want to get out in front and lead the rest of the field down pit road?
You want to be in that lead coming onto pit road right here. I think Levi's struggling it right in the center of the corner, it looks like to me. He does a nice job on corner exit right here, though, and he's able to get back to the inside, do the crossover on Sean Anderson. See if he's able to maintain right here. He's having a hard time wrapping the bottom. He does a nice job this time, though. Gets a lot closer to that line right here as he's inside of the 20 of Anderson.
That's what I was a little bit nervous about. Earlier in the race, we saw him doing battle with that number 19 car of Matt Garrett, and he kind of slid up the track, and you saw it there, not able to hold that bottom line, Chris, and we got 4 cars right on top of each other. That's going to be Cody Johnson looking to the outside of Levi Cox, looking for second position. Cox now on the inside. We've seen him not be as comfortable there for the past 5, 6, 7 laps. Cody Johnson's going to have to wait another lap if he's going to make that pass, unless he tries to cross over here down the back straightaway. Cody Johnson will lurch down to the inside of Levi Cox, down into turn number 3. It's a side-by-side battle for second, with Aaron Smith plugged in right back there in 4th position, all going on behind Sean Anderson, who scored as the leader. We think we're about 5 laps away from green flag pit stops here in the Nutcracker 250. You might as well call this an endurance race, but I'm not seeing any sort of waiting game for most of these drivers up front, Chris. Right now, it is all horsepower turned up 100%. Headed to that first green flag pit stop. Cody Johnson on the inside. Levi Cox still to the outside as they roll through turns 3 and 4.
This is amazing racing right here. At this stage of the run, with the tires in the shape that they're in right here, this is some great racing right here out of these top 4 drivers. You can see the hands inside on the 08 of Cody Johnson right here. He was working that steering wheel, but he definitely seems like he has a lot of grip left compared to maybe some of his counterparts around him.
Definitely looks like he's rotating better through the center of the corner. Sean Anderson slides up the track, tries to block the one of Cox. Cox says no thank you, jumps to the inside down in turn 3. It's going to be Cox with the advantage down on the inside. Sean Anderson to the outside. Maybe he rolls off the top just a little bit better. Side by side, it's going to be almost neck and neck at the line. Aaron Smith watching it all out of his front windshield. He's in the middle. Does he dare take it 3 wide? He looks like he might. Will he think better of it on the exit to turn 2? He definitely does. And right there, 4 cars right on top of each other, Chris. We think we're just a handful of laps away from the first set of green flag pit stops this evening.
There we are right here. You riding on board right there with Aaron Smith. Oh, he blinks out right here. Hopefully he comes back. Yes, he does. But yeah, he was definitely taking advantage of that hole that opened up and moved Aaron Smith up to the second spot.
First car down pit road, that is Justin Clapper. I also believe the 17 has come down pit road. Kyle Chafin on pit road as well, with a handful of other cars. Robert Walton, Matt Garrett, I believe, have hit pit road as well. Or Matt Garrett, maybe not.
I think Kyle Chafin has had some type of problem, Ellis. It looks like he is several laps down.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know if maybe he ran into some trouble out there, but yeah, of the leaders, I think that were up there near the front, looks like Justin Clapper, Robert Walton, Matt Garrett. Not surprised at all to see Matt Garrett making that pit stop a few laps ago, possibly. So because with his kind of falling back through the field after his early charge.
Yep, I think Bo Condon came down as well, just hit pit road a moment ago. He's a lap down. But, Chris, it continues to be the story to watch up front. Aaron Smith, Sean Anderson, Levi Cox, now Cody Johnson. Throw a blanket over these drivers. No show of slowing down to come down pit road. It is all 100% lights out racing right now up at the front. Aaron Smith with about a 4-car length lead on Sean Anderson.
Yeah, we see Levi Cox right here. I think Levi Cox and Sean Anderson are super, super close on speed. Cox is going to give him a little bit of a push down the backstretch here. I think that these two are really close on speed. Just give an update. Braxton DeWeese, we saw him kind of gaining with Aaron Smith and with Cody Johnson on these top 2. Braxton DeWeese, I don't know if maybe he just pushed a little too hard, a little too soon, but I think that the tires gave out on that 33. And he maybe had to back off the pace a little bit. He is about 4 seconds behind our leader right here, Aaron Smith. But I wouldn't count him out at all.
No, definitely wouldn't count him out. I think this is kind of maybe a lesson learned. This first run in the race is an opportunity really for drivers to kind of see where their car sits and where their driving skills in terms of tire management kind of sits compared to the rest of the field. Kind of a baseline barometer, so to speak, as the drivers cross the line to take lap number 62. We're getting close to green flag.
Levi Cox in the wall.
Cox in the wall.
Yeah, I think he tagged the wall on the front stretch, maybe on the entry to turn 1. I see a little bit of damage to that right front, and maybe it's just paint, but it definitely had him sideways on the entry to 1.
Yeah. He definitely tried to cut it as close as he could and use the geometry. 1 car off the pace in front of the leaders. I believe that was a car coming down pit road. I definitely saw some tire smoke right in front of Aaron Smith. Not sure what happened there, but you're right. Cox tries to make the most of the geometry, Chris, it looks like here.
Yeah, and that's easy to do with these quad oval tracks, these SMI tracks, Charlotte Motor Speedway, Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Texas Motor Speedway as well. They've got, sort of this double dog leg almost in a way on the front stretch, and he just kind of misjudged it a little bit right there. And it looks like he's coming to pit road this time.
Yeah. Travis Stroney on pit road as well. Several cars coming to the attention of their crews. And Chris, a little bit of information from the top the pit box of Braxton DeWeese. No tire issues there, just cruising so far right now on this first run of the evening. We'll see Braxton DeWeese also come down pit road. Sean Anderson there as well with Levi Cox. Multiple cars coming down pit road here, Chris, to the attention of their crew. Aaron Smith, Cody Johnson stay out along with Joshua Kerner, but we're going to see every single other person on the track have fresher tires than those top 3 at the moment. Actually, I shouldn't say that. We've got, looks like about 10 cars who have not hit pit road yet, but we're getting ready to see. Looks like maybe the rest of the leaders come down pit road this time. Aaron Smith looks to be slowing down. Maybe not.
Yeah, we see the 1 on pit road right there, the 20 on pit road, the 33 making their pit stops right here. So as it stands right now, I think Aaron Smith and Cody Johnson, only drivers who have not come to pit road yet. I think they're both coming down this time, maybe. Yes, they are.
Cody Johnson, 08, and the 70 of Aaron Smith hit pit road. It looks like a clean entry for both of those leaders. We haven't seen any major mistakes yet on pit road. It was one of the stories we kind of mentioned in pre-race. It hasn't come to fruition yet, but folks, it is early. 65 laps of 250 in the books here. Your 2 leaders coming down the pit road, and this should put us at a point where the pit cycle will cycle all the way through. Glenn Grimm, the other only car left on the track, and he's going to come to the attention of his pit crew this time by. So we're going to get a shakeout of how maybe an early stop might have given drivers like Matt Garrett and Robert Walton a little bit of an advantage here. About a 20 laps before this is when we saw Robert Walton and Matt Garrett pit. So we're going to be keeping an eye on what this means in terms of how far they're able to stretch their lead in front of Levi Cox, Cody Johnson, and Aaron Smith. And so far, Garrett has got about, looks like 2 seconds, 2.5 on Robert Walton. He's got about 3.5 seconds on Cox. And it's 5 seconds all the way back to Anderson, Johnson, and Smith. So that's an interesting strategy. I'm wondering if Garrett learned anything and if any other drivers might learn anything from that early pit stop we saw Garrett take advantage of about 22 laps ago.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I do think that Matt Garrett probably learned a little something on that first run. We saw him charge up through the field, but he dropped a little bit quicker than maybe anybody else because I think he was just pushing a little bit harder than most others. If it comes down to a late race restart, you got to feel pretty confident if you're him because you saw how he charged up through the field. So, we'll watch the times right here. He's 23 laps on this stint. Whereas Levi Cox and Sean Anderson, Cody Johnson, those guys, they've just come off of pit road. Interesting turn of events right here, Ellis. Cody Johnson does beat Aaron Smith off of pit road to move up into the 5th spot. So came on to pit road behind him, but maybe his crew a little bit faster on that pit stop.
Yeah, just looking at the differentials on pit lane, we don't know if this was the pit stop or maybe just entry, but about 0.6 faster for Cody Johnson. I saw some tire smoke from him getting onto pit road. That very well could have been where he made up a good bit of that time on Aaron Smith on entry to pit road. As we watch right in front of them, the 20 of Sean Anderson working his way underneath Levi Cox. The 1 car, this is battle for the 3rd position headed down into turn number 3. Sean Anderson going to get by pretty quickly and quietly on Levi Cox here. No disputing that. He's going to work on Robert Walton here within the next lap or so. Much faster times. We mentioned Walton about 14 laps older tires. It's not going to be any sort of competition for Sean Anderson in that number 20 working his way back towards the front. Robert Walton's probably going to feel like a sitting duck here with Levi Cox and Cody Johnson coming up right behind him in the next lap or two, Chris.
Yeah, definitely that battle right there between Johnson and Cox. Johnson's going to complete the pass right there. Man, I don't know. I feel like this is the most separation we've seen between Sean Anderson and Levi Cox in this whole race. It seems like they've been glued to each other from the green flag all the way to this point. But a little bit of separation between them right here as Anderson's putting a little bit of a distance on the 1 car.
Yeah, Anderson running about 2/10 of a lap faster than Matt Garrett. It's going to make it look like child's play working on the lead here. It's Anderson on the inside, Garrett on the outside. That battle doesn't last for more than a moment. No match. Oh, Matt Garrett really loose off of turn 4 there sideways. He's going to fall into the clutches of Cody Johnson in that 08, who's going to swing it to the outside. He's going to work his way by Matt Garrett in that number 08. Johnson to 2nd place. He's looking to catch back up
man,
to
he's
his
sideways.
Nemesis. Yeah, Matt Garrett really struggling here, Chris. 27 laps in. Did he drive those tires off way too early?
I don't know, but it looks like he's having a hard time right here just, maintaining the bottom. His entry was a little bit off right there to that corner, and it caused that car to slide up. One thing to take note of, Ellis, is we see Aaron Smith going around that 19 of Matt Garrett, is the track, I think all the way around now, is in shade for the first time this whole race, isn't it?
Yeah, let's. I think you are absolutely right. You're seeing some orange sunlight maybe beaming down onto the track, but most of it's shaded, Chris. Let's talk about this is the one race we have run all season where you see a pretty significant day-to-night transition. It's an endurance race, 250 laps. That is a long way to go, but when you throw in something like a transition from day to night, how does that impact the conditions on the track, and what does that do to the drivers trying to keep up with their race cars?
Well, I think that one thing that's going to happen is the lap times are just going to get faster. They're going to get faster than what they were earlier because the track's going to have more grip in it than it's had all race long without that sun beaming down on it. But you're also going to see maybe the tire life improve as a result of that. Race car drivers, we can be really greedy, Ellis. Sometimes with just these track temperatures going down, the tire wear stays the same just because of the simple fact that you are, you got a lot more confidence and you're pushing a little bit harder. And, maybe where you might have gained it before, you're not really making too much of a gain because, you're trying to take advantage of the faster times here. So, it's going to be a story to keep our eyes on right here as this race does progress. We did see some drivers on that pit stop. I think the fastest lap of the race was turned by Braxton DeWeese, if I'm not mistaken, and he did it immediately after the pit stop. And I guarantee you, possibly on the next round of green flag pit stops that we have, I bet you'll see the fastest lap go even faster than what it was on that previous one.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chris. One of the things I'm hearing in the chat right now from atop the pit box of Braxton DeWeese, they're saying he's whippy fast but loose. Center off seems to be the struggle for Braxton, as well as what I would imagine would be at least a few more drivers really struggling to maintain control of that car off the corners. You might see that improve over the evening with a little bit more grip as the track cools down a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, as the race goes on into these night conditions, that loose condition should get a little bit better. I don't think that you'll see that snappy loose effect that you saw early in the race when the sun was beating down on the track. So I think that will improve as this race goes on right here, and I think that a lot of drivers will be very happy about that because these cars, especially late into a fuel run, into a tire cycle, they can be really, really difficult to drive. As we got a battle, possibly Ellis right here for the third spot. Aaron Smith looking underneath Levi Cox.
Yep, that's that 70 of Aaron Smith ducking to the inside, and that ugly sweater number 70 car right underneath Levi Cox. That's a position swap between third and fourth. Aaron Smith moves up to third. Levi Cox falls back to fourth position, Chris, as we enter kind of a different stage and transition into kind of part two of this race tonight. It is the Nutcracker 250. We're in the holiday season. I thought I would bring out some interesting Nutcracker trivia questions and a little bit of history for folks watching at home in the chat. And we do appreciate everyone who's joined in the chat right now. Lots of insider information coming from the pit box of Braxton DeWeese from his crew chief and father, Chris DeWeese. Connor, we are super excited to see you again this week. Sorry we were gone for the past couple of weeks. We're glad you're back. He wants to know, is anyone a big fan of the Polar Express movie? Connor, I'm a big fan of any movie that Tom Hanks is in, so that is an absolute yes. We got a Anthony Burleson fan in the chat. Greg25RS looks to be rooting for Anthony Burleson. Appreciate you joining in, Greg. Killshot still sticking around, as well as Alan's Art Images. Let us know who you're rooting for. Who have you come to watch tonight? What driver are you hoping gets to victory lane right now? Anthony Burleson in that number 79, Chris. He's moved up to the 7th position. He's got a pretty fast car, yeah.
This is my favorite Christmas-themed paint scheme right here on this 79.
Is that a Home Alone poster on the front of it? We got a Home Alone car?
It's the Wet Bandits on the hood, Ellis.
The Wet Bandits. No one, as watching Home Alone as an adult, I got a different perception of the relationship between Kevin and his mother than I did when I was a kid, and I kind of look at it a different way. I'm wondering if anyone else kind of feels differently about Home Alone watching as an adult versus being a kid. Either way, Anthony Burleson, man, he has got some speed tonight. He's on older tires, Chris, than some of these leaders, and he is in 7th position right now, running some of the fastest laps on the track in that number 79. I know that Greg going to be happy to see that 79 running towards the front right now. Have you seen Home Alone 2 or 3, and did you watch the newest one on, I think it was like Netflix a couple of years ago?
I have not seen the newest one, but yes, I have seen Home Alone 2, and I have seen Home Alone 3. I kind of wish I wouldn't have seen Home Alone 3. It's not bad, but, you know, as a kid when it came out, I was like, okay, it's not bad, but, you know, I kind of look back on it now and I realize, I should have stopped at the second one probably.
How do you make that mistake twice with leaving your kid at home? Like, really, though?
Well, you know, they didn't technically leave him at home in the second one. He got on the wrong plane and went to New York.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So just a lack of supervision in the airport.
Yeah,
they're not going to win any Parent of the Year awards. But right now, that 79 looking very strong, Chris. I was mentioning the chat. If you're watching right now in the chat and you haven't subscribed to our channel, it doesn't cost you a thing. It helps us out tremendously. It helps get these drivers that you're rooting for out in front of more eyeballs. And we just love to put on a good show for you. So hit subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing. Also hit that thumbs up button. That like button doesn't cost you a thing either. It just helps our video reach more viewers. We super appreciate it. And as a reward for that, we got some trivia tonight about Nutcrackers as we watch Aaron Smith continue to run in front of Levi Cox. They're chasing down Sean Anderson and Cody Johnson, first and second right now on the track. Question: Nutcrackers originated in what country? In what country? And I will tell you this, Chris, you're a history guy, you're a history major, this might help you, it might help some folks in the chat. It's a country now, but it technically was not a country when the Nutcracker originated in the 1600s. Let us know what country you think Nutcrackers originated from. We're going to give it a few minutes of think time while the silent Jeopardy music plays in the background. Let us know in the chat what country you think Nutcrackers originated from. Hey, let's do this. Let's give away a 1/64th scale diecast tonight. Let's make it worth it. We're going to take score. First 2 answers that are correct will get a point on the board tonight. And at the end of the night, the fan with the most correct answers will win a free 1/64th scale diecast. We'll send it to you for absolutely free. Even if you're on your phone, you can pull up that chat. Don't be afraid. Don't be bashful. Let us know what country you think Nutcrackers originated from. And while you're giving some think time, Chris, I think it might be a good idea to crank it up and watch some of these cars roll by and hear the sights and sounds of some of the cameras we've got placed around the track from Whiplash Sim Cams. right. Some high horsepower shots there from Whiplash Sim Cams with our Crank It Up camera. Right now, Chris, pass for the lead that happened just a few moments ago. Cody Johnson really stretching the lead out on Sean Anderson. And Chris, we're watching lap times as we speak, and for the past 4 or 5 laps, Cody Johnson has been the fastest driver on the track in the middle of this green flag run. He's got some significant speed advantages over the likes of Sean Anderson and Aaron Smith, joined by Levi Cox and Braxton DeWeese in 4th and 5th. That is a good place to be if you're Cody Johnson. It shows that you got some staying power here in that 08, and he's a newcomer to the TNT Series. First time out on the track, and he is making it look easy right now, putting on a show in that 08. And boy, yeah, he's got some speed in that number 08 car. Chris, mention in the chat, let us know what you think the country is where Nutcrackers originate. Take a guess. Doesn't hurt to guess. Oh, we got one answer in. Killshot says Germany. We'll find out if that is correct here momentarily. Take your guess. First 2 correct answers will get a point for trivia, which we'll be doing over the course of the evening. Fan with the most points at the end of the night will get a free 1/64th scale diecast shipped to them free of charge. And right now, Chris, Cody Johnson is your leader. We are on lap 93 of 250 here in the Nutcracker 250. Sean Anderson scored in 2nd, Aaron Smith in 3rd, and all these drivers kind of running lap times within 1/10 of a second of each other. Levi Cox 4th, Braxton DeWeese is 5th. Chris, Steven Lashinsky, we haven't heard that name all night in that number 9 Monster Jam car. He is up to the 6th position, that Monster Jam mechanic, Steven Lashinsky. He is putting on quite a show here in the last several laps. He started 17th tonight, up 11 positions over the course of the evening. He's got some long run speed built into that 99 car. How about it?
Yeah, he's definitely looking good here, and I think that we've, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that we haven't seen Steven Lashinsky maybe in the last couple of TNT races. So
yeah, it has been a few weeks since we've seen him.
Yeah, happy to have him back here, and yeah, he's a driver that we've seen show some flashes of speed this season. So definitely seems like he's got the long run tuned up tonight on that Monster Jam machine, and up here in the 6th spot. We were kind of talking during the Crank It Up, Ellis, about Cody Johnson having a good bit of pace at this stage of the run. Seems like about middle part of the run. And I noticed it on the first run as well. Maybe from like lap 20 through lap 40. I think he's one of the faster cars on the track. And I think that's going to pay off for long green flag runs tonight. I've got my fingers crossed, Ellis, that we are going to continue to stay green. And if we do continue to stay green, I think I want to be really fast in that part of the run, because I think that that's probably the part where you can gain the most amount of ground. I think Aaron Smith is maybe the fastest in that lap 40 to 60 range of the green flag run.
I think you are absolutely right, and we're seeing Aaron Smith close up a little bit more. He's running some of the fastest lap times on the track right now. Hey, speaking of fast lap times and potential winners tonight, first winner in the trivia, question number 1. Skillshot said Germany, and Chris, that is absolutely the correct answer. Killshot said Germany is where the Nutcracker originated from back in the early 1600s. And they started off very rudimentary devices just to crack the nuts. They weren't so decorative at that point in the 17th century like we imagine them being today. But congrats to Skillshot, or Killshot, I should say. You're on the board with 1 trivia point. We'll do at least 3 or 4 more questions over the course of the next 150 laps before the end of this race and send someone home with a free 1/64th scale diecast. There is still time to win, even though you didn't get on that first question. Make sure you are listening for the next one and respond in the chat. Chris, we're getting close here. About, I suspect, maybe 20 laps away from another green flag pit stop. 15 maybe for some of the drivers who are running that 50 lap or so strategy, coming in just a little bit early. We saw some drivers try that in the first run, but you mentioned it. Cody Johnson's got kind of a stronghold on the lead right now with some of the fastest laps on the track, but Aaron Smith is running just consistently about half a tenth faster than Sean Anderson and Cody Johnson, and you can see that yellow getting a little bit bigger in Sean Anderson's rear view mirror as they head down the backstretch for the second position. Slightly different lines. Aaron looks like he's able to hold that bottom, wrap that apron just maybe a little bit better than the 20 of Sean Anderson right now.
Yeah, we'll pull up the race insights, the battle forecast race insights powered by Pierce Graphics here. And we can see the overtake projection. It says 11 laps. It might be quicker than that even, as Aaron Smith was about 0.2 of a second quicker that lap than Sean Anderson. He falls in line right here down the backstretch. But that car, you can definitely see it as we were riding on board. Wouldn't be able to see it this time because he's to the inside of him. But, man, he is just rolling through the center of the corner so much better than his competition. As Justin Clapper comes up behind these guys on some fresh tires.
He went through the grass, got fresh tires with Justin Clapper. Now he's 2 laps down in that 63, looking to maybe see if he can gain some laps back. Chris, I don't know how he got 2 laps down. I would imagine maybe there's an issue on pit stop.
I think that he was, correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong about this.
He just came down pit road.
Yeah, he came down pit road, and so I think that's what's put him a couple laps down here. So, he's definitely trying to make some ground up, and it might work out for him. If he gets a timely caution here, he might be able to leapfrog some spots here. Yeah,
and let's keep an eye on a couple of other drivers who look like they're doing their same strategy as last time, Chris. Matt Garrett and Robert Walton. 2 of the faster cars tonight, running inside the top 10 much of the evening. Garrett and Walton 14th and 15th right now, just rolling off pit road, down the backstretch, down into turn 3. Garrett going by a couple of cars here on fresh tires. He has now scored his 2 laps down, and that is because of that pit stop. Looking to maybe get back on the lead lap here in a couple of laps, or get back within 1 lap down here in a couple of laps, getting one of those back the hard way. So we'll be keeping an eye on that the 19 and the 66. Tire strategy is going to be big tonight. I'm just trying to do the math in my head. I think the pre-race telemetry statistics as we watch the number 19 try to get by Smith a moment ago. I think they were telling us, 4 pit stops over the course of the evening. We had one. We're getting ready for the second one.
Yeah, I think that it will be 4. We have had the one, getting ready for the second here. So, and it seemed like, I got about around lap 62 maybe, is about as far as you can go. I think they went a little bit further than that. Some of them did. Like Aaron Smith went pretty far there. So, I think that will definitely confirm possibly being able to do this in 4 stops. We did have Ellis, so it looks like somebody tuning into the chat right here. Impo56 said, if I wanted to apply for this league, where would I go? There are lots of TNT leagues in the iRacing search.
I've got a number for you. You got the number? You want me to give it?
You go ahead. You got it.
It is number 8965. I just put it in the chat for Impo56. That is 8965. That is the TNT series that you want to join. Also, you can join their Discord. I'm going to work on putting a message up in the chat with that as well. So be on the lookout for that Discord information as well. It might take me just a second to get that plugged in, but we'll get it to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, and while Ellis does that, we'll take a look right here at the battle for the 7th spot right here of Travis Trani and Tyler Dalton, a couple of new drivers here in TNT. They are currently battling here for the 7th spot. Looks like Tyler Dalton's got that Jimmy Johnson special right here rolling. Ellis, Jimmy Johnson was pretty good around this track back in the day.
Oh, was he? Yeah, I didn't know that at all.
They even called it Lowe's Motor Speedway. Named it after his sponsor. I'm just kidding. It was like that before,
right.
But yeah.
I really do kind of miss it being called Lowe's Motor Speedway, though, is it? You didn't like that corporate branding at all?
I don't like that. I don't like that. Not for a track that means as much as Charlotte Motor Speedway does.
Well,
it's kind of like when they changed. It's kind of like when they changed the name of the Brickyard 400 to the Allstate 400. I was like, I don't like that much, So
it is it's a great track regardless of the name, and I was able to throw that Discord channel in the chat for Impo. Looking for that Discord information. Anyone else watching who wants to join their Discord, maybe consider racing with these guys. It is a great series. We love broadcasting it each and every week. Cody Johnson still in the lead, lap 109 at 250. We're approaching the halfway mark of the Nutcracker 250. Getting ready maybe for some green flag pit stops here in the next 10 laps or so. Chris, I think it might be another good opportunity to step away for just a moment to hear from our partners again at Sim Wrap Market, as well as Pocket Crew Chief. Be back on the other end of this break for some green flag pit stops.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
All right, well, don't get too attached to this car because it's going to be leaving in a couple months. Just kidding. That's Christmas vacation joke for anyone watching that 25 of Bo Condon roll around. We're back here live from Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Nutcracker 250 from the TNT Series. It's Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith broadcasting from the Slingshot Racing Media booth. And Chris, we got some Christmas paint schemes out here tonight, and this is definitely one of my favorites.
Oh, we tagged the wall, Ellis.
Yeah,
we were talking about
commentator's curse strikes again here with Bo Condon. Getting in the wall just a little bit down the front straightaway, and it's not going to make too much of a difference with that paint scheme. It's already pretty rusted and beat up. That Christmas Vacation RV, that's Cousin Eddie's RV. You a big Christmas Vacation fan, Chris?
Yeah, I'm probably not as big as, like, my parents love it. They watch it all the time, every single Christmas season, anytime it comes on, my mom especially, but I'm not as big of a fan as them, I don't think, but I am still a big fan. It's really cool to see this paint scheme, and I just gotta know, Ellis. I gotta know, so I'm gonna try my very best to get the best angle that I can possibly get of this. It might be kind of hard, so I'm looking to see. I don't know if I can find one that I really want. You might have to help me out, Ellis. What does it say on the back bumper of this 25? I know it's a picture of Ty Gibbs, and I'm almost afraid to ask what it says on the back bumper.
Let me see if I can't find that out for you. I'm going to go on board maybe with Braxton DeWeese here and see if I can't.
That's a good idea.
Wrangle you up an answer. If I can go on board.
He's going so fast.
Yeah. I know.
I can't quite get a chase camera, I don't think, picture of looking
Who's he
at
going
this.
by here? Who is that?
That's the 22.
Ah, man, I missed it again. It's definitely Ty Gibbs. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if I want to know what is on the back of it. But right now, one car hitting pit road. Nicholas Tomlinson coming down pit road. He's on 4-lap old tires. I'm not sure maybe what's going on with that car as he comes back down pit road. but he's 15 laps down. It's been a struggle tonight for Nicholas Tomlinson in that 22. Looks like he overshoots his pit. He might be getting ready to park it tonight. I'm not sure. Just maybe trying to find his pit stall. But Chris, Aaron Smith to the lead, pass for the lead. Aaron Smith makes his way by Cody Johnson, who slips into second place. And Chris, this was something I saw coming maybe 15 laps ago. Aaron Smith was just running slightly faster than Cody Johnson, just hundredths of a second faster, and he's closed up and now taking the lead. Aaron Smith is a master at saving tires in the final 5-6 laps of this stint. He's done it again. We saw him up at the front at the end of the first green flag pit cycle. He's done it again now. Aaron Smith to the point. He's got about 3 car lengths of a lead on Cody Johnson. Levi Cox, you have to go all the way back about 30 car lengths, 3 seconds back now more to find third place. Sean Anderson right behind him in fourth, Chris. And that's a good little battle going on there right behind them in that fourth position. Sean Anderson, and looks like... yeah, they might just be going by Ricky Mandela, a lap car, I think. Yeah. But he's closed up on Levi Cox as well. So
yeah, he has.
Lots of action happening.
He has. And at this stage of the run, Ellis, I saw it earlier in the 70. It looks like he's not going to quite do that. But I can see that left front of that 70 of Aaron Smith just tickling that white and blue line down there on in the center of turns 1 and 2. And, man, that's just what you want to do at this stage of the run. If you can still do that, man, you are really hooked up and you are really turning. You have got some good roll right in the center of the corner. And that's hard to do at this stage of the run where the lap times have fallen off as much as they have. But I will say this, Ellis, our lap times aren't falling off near as much as what they were in the first run. So it tells me a couple things. Number one, our drivers are getting a little bit more, they're learning a little bit more out here about what they need to do. And number two, this track's cooling down a little bit.
This track is definitely cooling down. The sun continues to set on drivers here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Lap 122. We're getting ready for some green flag pit stops potentially. Chris, I don't want to ever hear you refer to as a race car as tickling anything ever again in this broadcast booth. But you mentioned
Aaron Smith, tickling that line.
Aaron Smith doing a good job of wrapping the bottom of the track. Cody Johnson right now falls to about 8 car lengths back on the lead. Chris, we have some information for you. Greg is letting us know what the back end of that 22 car says. It says, remember the reason for the season. Not the 22, but the Bo Condon car, sorry.
Yeah, Bo Condon. Yeah.
The reason for the season with a picture of Ty Gibbs on there.
Yeah, I think that's very fitting to have Ty Gibbs with that that quote on the back.
Might see Cody Johnson the wall there off at turn 2, Chris. He's fallen even further back, and I think that number 08 had some trouble here. We're seeing drivers really struggle with maybe difficult handling race cars. Hitting the halfway point in just a lap, Aaron Smith takes us to lap 125 of 250. And you can see right now, up until that last lap, these drivers were running similar pace, similar lap times. Aaron Smith's heart rate is stationary, I should say, at 108. He's an Iceman, Chris. That thing really hardly ever, just in a normal lap, gets above 110. We've seen it get pretty high in some heated moments, but pretty calm right now inside the cockpit of that 07. We've got the live heart rate monitor strapped onto the number 70. And right now, 110 or so, 111. And it's getting a little higher, just like his lead over Cody Johnson.
Yeah, and I think that for him, he's feeling pretty good right now. I think that he has to feel pretty confident, to be able to go up there and take the lead. I mean, he fell back as far as, 12th earlier?
Yeah.
In the early stages of this race. So he's driven up through these guys. He knew what pace he wanted to run. I think that's the thing, about Aaron. I think that, a lot of people, and there's a lot of guys in here who are really good at, looking after their tires. We've seen Levi Cox be really good at it. I think Cody Johnson's done a really good job tonight, too, even though he's fallen back here. Braxton DeWeese as well. Aaron's just really good at being able to run, as fast as he needs to run without killing the tires.
We do have our first pit pit stop of this kind of cycle at this stage in the race. It is Sean Anderson in the 20 going to come down pit road, looking to see if anyone else is going to join him. I don't think we have the 44 of Travis Stroney in as well. Chris, he's down pit road. I think we're about to see a big old pack of cars come down pit road in the next couple of laps. Cody Johnson, second place, coming to the attention of his pit crew. How much pressure does this put on Aaron Smith as we've kind of crossed the halfway point? Cody Johnson looking for maybe any advantage he can find on the 70 of Aaron Smith.
Yeah, Levi Cox on pit road as well. Ellis, I think it puts a little bit of pressure on him, but also I think that Aaron's really confident. I think he feels like nobody can touch him on the long run. And you know, with that knowledge and with what he's been able to do over the course of the long run here, I might try to stay out another lap or two. He's going to lose the lead, but that's all right. You know, put yourself in a better tire position for later, and maybe you lose like 2 or 3 seconds, but you know, over the course of a long run like we've been having all night tonight, I think he maybe feels like he can possibly gain that ground back.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese on pit road as well. And I think DeWeese, Chris, might have had a little bit of trouble in his pit stall. That was a long time down pit road, a 40.7 second trip down pit road for Braxton DeWeese. Looks like it was the slowest on the track, at least in terms of cars who have pit. He's going to try to get by Justin Clapper here. Sorry, not Justin Clapper, but Steven Lashinsky. Several cars. Now Aaron Smith, Chris, the leader, trying to thread his way through some cars a lap down. He's going to have to slow down right in front of
I think he's coming to pit
Braxton
road.
DeWeese. He's coming down pit road this time by. It's your leader.
Oh, he's coming fast.
Oh, boy, he was fast, Chris. Wiggled down in front of those cones to come to pit road. I'm not sure if he made it. We're going to have to see how long this pit stop lasts to see if he gets held for a speeding penalty. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen this 70 make a mistake on pit road. It doesn't happen very often, but it's happened once before this season. We'll see if it did that time by. He's going to come to the attention of his crew, and we'll see how long this pit stop is. But while that's happening, Cody Johnson is continuing to work his way around the track. Now into turn 3, Chris. Now 4. He's going to come down the front straightaway. I think we're going to see Johnson reclaim the lead here over Aaron Smith. And yeah, Cody Johnson now coming through the tri-oval, or the dog leg, I should say. He's going to pass him down into turn 1. And yeah, Chris, he's going to have a big old lead on Aaron Smith. He's got about 3 laps fresher tires, and he's going to have almost an entire straightaway gap on Aaron Smith, about 3/4 of a straightaway. What do you make of the outcome of that gamble that Cody Johnson took to come 3 laps before Aaron Smith?
I think it's all right for Cody Johnson. He's going to have about 3 lap older tires, but you know, Cody has probably been the second fastest car on the long run tonight. You know, and with that knowledge and with that, you know, I don't think that, you know, Aaron's been gaining a lot of ground until like the last 20 laps of the run. So, you know, maybe Cody can use a little bit of information that he's gained tonight to try to, you know, see if he can work on maybe the last 20 laps of the run to see if maybe he can, you know, improve the pace at that time right there. Aaron is going to gain a little bit on him here early on just by having those fresher tires. We do have some insider information in the chat. Ellis Chris DeWeese says that Braxton DeWeese ran out of fuel entering pit lane, and that's what contributed to that slightly slower pit lane time that we see.
Yeah, that crew had to take a little bit of a few extra seconds to spray some ether down that hood into the engine and maybe get that thing fired up again as Braxton DeWeese ran out of gas coming down pit road. Chris, what's the benefit of stretching that tank all the way in? Is that a driver mistake, or maybe Chris atop the pit box for the 33 of DeWeese might have some information on was that a mistake, or was that intentional, or maybe they just don't want to show their cards at this point in the race. But either way, Braxton is going to lose several positions back down to 10th position. He's been one of the fastest cars on the track all evening. Cody Johnson now in the lead. Aaron Smith, we mentioned second, maybe picking up a little bit of time, about a 10th faster than Cody Johnson that time by. Sean Anderson, we've seen him be very fast all night. He is in third. Levi Cox, Chris, is in fourth. Matt Garrett rounds out the top 5 in that number 3. It's kind of been a night of ups and downs, Chris, for the 19 of Matt Garrett. We've seen him be fast. We've seen as he comes down pit road now, 33 laps on that set of tires, Chris. I'm interested to know what the strategy is here with 120 laps left. Is he going to try to do 2 60-lap cycles after this to make it to the end if we were to go green?
Possibly. He's looking at the laps left, and he's probably, trying to work it out to where he does that. Unfortunately, I think there's a few drivers that want to try this. If it goes green all the way, these drivers that have to make one extra pit stop, they're going to be in trouble here. They're just not going to be able to make up the ground that they need to make up on Cody Johnson, Aaron Smith, Sean Anderson, these guys. They're going to be relying on a caution maybe to bunch the field back up. So I like the effort for sure by those guys. We do have some information from Chris DeWeese right here. It says we wanted to put one lap before we did, but a car behind us was closer than expected. So yeah, sometimes, Ellis, I was going to say, there's a possibility that, running the top, if you run the top a lot of laps, you definitely can use up a little bit more fuel. But, sometimes you won't come to pit road when you want to just because of traffic being what it is, and maybe you don't feel like you can get the message across to the guys around you and possibly might cause an incident. So Braxton DeWeese trying to do the smart move right there by going one extra lap around the track. And
one driver in the chat right now, Joshua Kerner, who loves to join in the chat while he's driving. Not sure how he does it, but he says someone didn't call out their pit stop, and I guess he was right behind him, and he had to hit the wall to avoid running into the back of that car. So you mentioned it, just how dangerous it can be as Kerner sits there on pit road, going a couple laps down to get some damage repaired on that 14. But they're fairly fast all night long after starting in the 13th position. He kind of held station around there, dipped in the top 10 at one point this evening. But watching Anthony Burleson, Chris, car on the move right now. One of the fastest cars on the track that time by. Anthony Burleson in that 79. I know we've got a couple Burleson fans watching in the chat right now. Man, they got to be happy to see the 79 running as fast as he is right now. That's been Burleson's been pretty good this season. We haven't seen a run quite this fast. And one of the things that's happened to Burleson, I know in multiple races, is something has happened to him at the end of the races that has prevented him from kind of finishing as fast as he runs. Tonight, over halfway through, he's sitting in the top 5 with some speed. He might find himself fighting for a win by the end of the evening.
He might be, and could you say, Ellis, that maybe this car right here is running as fast as Kevin McAllister was from the Wet Bandits?
Oh boy! I guess if I'm going to make those jokes, you're allowed to. You gotta live with it. Yeah, we're an equal opportunity corny joke maker here, and at Slingshot Racing Media. And speaking of jokes, it's not a joke, but I've got another trivia question for the fans at home. If you missed it last time, we're giving away points for the first 2 correct answers to each trivia question, and the fan with the most points at the end of the evening is going to be sent a free 1/64th scale die cast, a little Christmas present from Slingshot Racing Media, free of charge. So, first question was, where did Nutcrackers originate? And the correct answer was Germany, and Killshot got the point for that. But there is still time. There's still plenty of opportunities to get points. So let's take another crack at this. I had to do it. All right, so here is the question. Let's see. I'm picking from my list here. Okay. How tall is the world's tallest nutcracker? Closest, the 2 closest answers to the height of the world's tallest nutcracker, which is located in Germany, by the way,
of course,
will get a trivia point. And I'll even give you a hint. It's between 1 and 100 feet tall. It's between 1 and 100 feet tall. How tall is the world's tallest nutcracker? It's located in Germany. First, the 2 closest guesses will get trivia points here. What's the world's tallest nutcracker in terms of height? How many feet? It's between 1 and 100. Looks like Anthony Burleson falling back just a little bit there, Chris.
Yeah.
Getting passed by Tyler Dalton in the 48. Burleson used his tires up a little bit early in this run, maybe?
He came to pit road a bit earlier than a lot of these guys that he's racing with
17 laps earlier.
Yeah, so he's got a little bit older tires right here. He used that to try to gain some track position. So, he's slipping back a little bit here, but maybe he's hoping that the cautions work out in his favor if they ever do come. As here we are, 145 laps into this race, caution-free. These drivers right here, they're looking really good, and if you're interested in racing with these guys this season, expect to race in conditions like this, long green flag runs, like what you're seeing tonight. Look in the chat. Ellis has posted a link to their Discord as well as the iRacing League ID. So check them out right here at Thursday Night Thunder. They're putting on a heck of a show.
Heck of a show, absolutely. Tyler Dalton climbing up to the 7th position. Lashinsky working his way by Anthony Burleson in that number 99 up to 8th position. Burleson back to 9th. I'm just looking through the field, some of the more intense or interesting fights we have going on right now. Chris, we haven't talked about Chase Leahy all night long. Let's give some due to that paint scheme out there that is a good-looking paint scheme. It's a Pine Golf paint scheme. We've been looking for one of these all season long. I believe this is a business owned by Chase Leahy, but just a good-looking Christmas paint scheme. Green paint scheme. I know my dad would like this one, but yeah, Chase Leahy does a great job organizing this league. And that 34 font, I really like that 34 font on top of that kind of shiny, bright, reflective green paint scheme with Santa on the side.
Ellis,
good looking one.
Is your dad a fan of green paint schemes?
He is. He loves, his favorite color is green, so he does love a green paint scheme. You've seen him run a few out on the track, I'm sure.
Yeah, so does he know the superstition behind green paint schemes in NASCAR racing?
I doubt. Enlighten both of us, maybe if he's watching. If not, I'll share with him.
Well, it's generally thought of as Chase Leahy is coming to pit road right here. The consensus in NASCAR stock car racing, I don't know if it's so much in recent years, but I know it used to be a thing, especially like in the 90s, is that green paint schemes are very unlucky. Which I always found to be kind of strange, like a strange superstition, because when I think of green paint schemes in the 1990s, I think about the Interstate Batteries car, Bobby Labonte, and Dale Jarrett, winning the Daytona 500, Bobby Labonte winning the championship. So yeah, I've always found it to be a strange superstition.
Harry had a green car, right?
He did, yeah. So I've always found it to be a strange superstition. I remember green paint schemes and peanuts around NASCAR vehicles always being signs of, bad luck.
Peanuts like on a paint scheme or like scattered around a car?
Yes. I think to both. Yeah, I think that you're not supposed to bring peanuts around a race car, and you're not supposed to have a green paint scheme apparently. But I've never really had too much time for superstitions myself personally.
Interesting. Huh. Well, you learn something new every single day. We're going to give one more chance out here in the trivia in the chat. We've got a couple of guesses. 10.5 feet tall from Chris DeWeese. Killshot says 22 feet tall. Let us know. Guess. Just throw a number out between 1 and 100. You got a shot. All you have to do is type that answer in the chat. If you're watching on your phone, you've got the chat option as well. Even if you're watching on your TV, you've got the chat option. If you just hit that button and kind of navigate to it, it's there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to say hi. Chris and I are friendly. Let us know you're watching the chat, what driver you might be rooting for, and what brought you here tonight. Right now, good little battle going on. Looks like Cody Johnson, I shouldn't say that's a battle right now. That was a lap car he was going by. But Chris, Aaron Smith, I see him getting a little bit bigger coming into picture in that second position. He was about a straightaway back. Now he's about half a straightaway back. That number 70 got a little speed building up in him as the sun continues to set and the day turns into night. The lights are on at Charlotte. 152 laps of 250 in the books. We're entering now into the final 100 laps of this endurance race, the Nutcracker 250, and you can see it there, Chris. Projected overtake in about 13 laps based on the lap times currently. And the number 08 had to deal with Joshua Kerner not making it easy on him, Chris. That's going to slow him down even more.
Yeah, it is, and we'll see right here. We're riding on board right here with Aaron Smith. You're in the passenger seat of that number 70 machine. Let's see what the lap times look like this time around. I bet it'll be a little bit, that lap traffic does provide a little bit of a slower lap time from Cody Johnson as Aaron Smith, not 2/10 that lap by out of his race lead. Catching them is one thing, Ellis, and passing them is another. Aaron Smith hasn't had a lot of trouble passing when he gets up there. So I think that he will reach Cody Johnson before the next green flag pit stops begin. And Ellis, the next green flag pit stop very well might be the final pit stop of this race.
I think you very well might be right. And speaking of right, couple of chat answers. They weren't quite as close to the answer as they were, but they were the closest answers. Chris DeWeese says 10 and a half feet tall, the tallest nutcracker in the world. Killshot says 22 feet. The correct answer was 41 feet tall. But both of those guys will get points for that. Chris DeWeese is on the board. Killshot has 2 trivia points moving into the second half of trivia coming up here shortly over the course of the next 95 laps or so. Alan's Art Images in the chat says, keep it up, number 33, Braxton Weiss rooting on that number 33 tonight. Kyle Chafin, who was in the race earlier, had some issues, had to step away from the rig, but he's joined in the broadcast. Kyle, we appreciate you. We're sorry you had issues, but we're glad that you're able to watch the broadcast and appreciate you tuning in. Chris Weiss says, wow, that is tall. Yeah, 41-foot nutcracker. A little bit scary. I don't know if it's scary in someone's yard or not, but it's definitely in Germany, the home of the nutcracker, at least where it originated from. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about sometimes some nutcrackers do look a little bit intimidating?
Well, yeah, because they're designed originally as soldiers. Yeah. Did you know that?
Yeah, and they got those, they got those soulless eyes, and they sometimes they can be a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, I would imagine some people probably have a phobia of nutcrackers. Maybe some people kind of walk into a room of dolls, and it kind of freaks them out.
Guarded gnomes, movie like they don't like those types of things either, So.
Well, hey, did you know this little trivia, or not trivia, but a little fun fact? We're both history teachers. One of the reasons why nutcrackers started taking on kind of the look of kings and soldiers as well as authority figures was so that common people, the commoners in Germany, could mock those in power, kind of subtly. Yeah, because the nutcracker's a little goofy looking, so they painted him up like a king to kind of mock the king and figures of authority in early European, not early European countries, but 17th century Europe, including Germany and other parts of that part of the world. That's a little history fact for the day.
I don't think they were doing that about 300 years in the future in Germany, but... not today. I'm not talking about today in Germany.
Not today. 300 years ago.
Yeah.
Got to be careful about what we say on air here. Cody Johnson is in the lead, Chris, but talking about being careful. Aaron Smith, not too far behind. That yellow car is creeping up closer and closer and closer into the picture now. Aaron Smith just about 0.7 of a second back as the leader, Cody Johnson, has to work his way through a couple of lap cars here. Aaron Smith is getting closer and closer, Chris. We're about halfway through what we believe might be approaching the final fuel stop of the evening on around, we think, 195 or so, somewhere that believe will be where the pit window opens. And kind of the money stop, so to speak, if this thing goes green like we've seen it for the first 161 laps on a record, kind of a blistering pace here, Chris. But right now, Aaron Smith also on a blistering pace. Sean Anderson about 6.6 seconds back. That is the closest competitor to Johnson and Smith right now, and Smith is going to be there in just a moment. I'm curious if we can get an onboard shot and kind of see how Aaron Smith thinks about setting up this pass. The 08 really struggling with that number 63 of Justin Clapper in front of them.
Yeah, I think that Cody Johnson right here, as we ride on board with Aaron Smith, I think he has used up his tires here. You can definitely see the difference in lap time. That's also being hurt. The 63 has taken a lot of downforce off the front of that 08. It's really hurting him, but Justin Clapper is trying to keep from going 2 laps down. If you go 2 laps down, your race is pretty much over with at that point. So he's trying to fight really hard here. If I'm Cody Johnson, I gotta fight really, really hard right here. I cannot give up this spot to Aaron Smith. I feel like this part right here, this is going to be like almost, no, it's not the race for the win right this second, right now, but if we go green to the end, these 20 laps here before they do decide to come to pit road for their final stop, are extremely crucial.
Crucial indeed. Right now, Aaron Smith reeling in Cody Johnson. Sean Anderson, as I mentioned, about 6 seconds back. Looking through the rest of the field, Chris, Steven Lashinsky's got a great little battle setting up here with Tyler Dalton. This is going to be a battle for the 7th position. Lashinsky in that Monster Jam number 99 dives to the inside. Kind of two different approaches in terms of lines. That's been something we've been looking at all night. Drivers kind of tackling the track a little bit differently there. Lashinsky trying to set up a pass on the 48 of Tyler Dalton, who's had a top 10 run going most of the evening. Lashinsky kind of moves to the middle to follow that same line as Dalton that time by. If you're Lashinsky, what are you thinking when you're trying to kind of adjust your line? Do you want to be in the wake of the 48, or do you want to run a different line?
Definitely want to run a different line. You can get some clean air on the front of that car. That downforce is going to push that nose down, going to help that car turn through the center of the corner. Here comes Lashinsky looking to the inside right here. These drivers right here are the last two drivers on the lead lap. Those are the leaders right behind them right there, so they got to go. So they're not going to give each other an inch right here as they're going to try to battle it out to put one more car between them and the race leader.
Yeah, and this is going to kind of be an interesting foil for Cody Johnson as he comes up on these cars, getting ready to put them a lap down. They're going to be fighting hard. He's got Aaron Smith, Chris, right behind him. So Cody Johnson can't necessarily afford to be too patient with these guys as we watch Lashinsky make the pass on Dalton.
And
for
here
the
comes
7th
Aaron
position.
Smith, Ellis.
There's Aaron Smith to the inside. We got a battle for the lead here. It's going to be Smith on the inside in that yellow car. Cody Johnson on the outside losing the lead here. Lap 167. We've got 83 laps remaining. The final third of the race is underway here from Charlotte. And underneath them, Robert Walton on fresher tires. Slides up in front of Aaron Smith. Is that going to be a foil for Smith as Cody Johnson slides closer to the back bumper of Aaron Smith, Chris? Second place had a bit of a moment there, maybe a moment of opportunity. A window had opened, and he gains about a car length, now just about a car length or two back from Aaron Smith. They've got Lashinsky now falling back to Justin Clapper. Lashinsky falls back into the grasp of the 48 of Tyler Walton, who looks to get back by Lashinsky for the 7th position. All this, Chris, going on in front of the battle for the lead. 6 cars on top of each other, some on the lead lap, some not on the lead lap. This is going to be a wild couple of moments, maybe a critical moment, Chris, coming up for Aaron Smith here. Keep an eye on that heart rate as he enters into the Hornet's Nest here on lap 169 of 250.
Hey, he's real calm and cool right now. I'm a little bit surprised to see it a little bit lower at this point than it was earlier, especially with all this traffic he's got in front of him. But I think that maybe that speaks to his confidence right now and his speed as the 48 Tyler Dalton.
The 66 got in the back of the 99. Sorry, we about had a moment there, Chris. I thought Smith loose off the top of the corner in turn 4. Oh, boy. That heart rate's climbing a little bit now.
Yeah, it would make mine climb as well. Aaron's going to go to the top here. I think maybe he's got a little bit tire left to maybe do this, to maybe feel like he can roll around the top of these guys. The thing that is kind of like, I shouldn't say messing all this up, but I think it's kind of throwing a wrench into this, is Robert Walton has got, 23 lap tires right here. And so he's a good bit faster than a lot of these guys because of his, just the tire life that he's got. And yeah, that's really
easy,
close.
boys. Robert Walton kind of slides up in front of the leader, Aaron Smith, trying to stay on the lead lap with fresher tires. How long will Aaron Smith show patience here? Walton slides down the track right in front of the leader, Aaron Smith. Critical moment in the race for Smith. He's got Johnson behind him, second place in tow. He can see him in the rearview mirror very clearly, Chris. Aaron Smith cannot be patient here. We're approaching the final pit stop of the night in about 15 to 20 laps. Every lap matters. Every 10th of a second is going to matter here for Smith. He can't wait, but he's got to stay behind the 66 until he can find a safe opportunity to pass. And Cody Johnson, Chris, this is allowing him to maybe stick right there, maybe even cool the tires a little bit and make a second kind of run here at Aaron Smith, who's got about 3 lap fresher tires, but that might equal out here if Cody Johnson can let him cool down.
Yeah, you read my mind. I was going to bring that up. This is like best case scenario right here for Cody Johnson. Aaron Smith has been stuck in this traffic right here, and he hasn't been able to run away from Cody. He's just been, kind of stuck running the same speed he was before, and so now Cody Johnson can kind of maintain can kind of, back his pace down a little bit because, I think that if both of them could run as fast as they needed to run or as fast as they wanted to run, I think that he would have a hard time, because we saw Aaron Smith chase him down, I think he would have a hard time maintaining as fast as Cody Johnson has been tonight. The last 20 laps of the run has been kind of all Aaron Smith. So I'd say that this is best case scenario for Cody Johnson. And, if he can kind of maintain where he's at right here, come down to pit road for our final pit stop coming up, maybe in about 15 laps or so. Yeah, who knows?
Robert Walton sticking hit to his guns on the outside. Got a major run on Smith. Now they've got the 63 of Justin Clapper. He is a lap down in the 9th position, trying to stay 1 lap down instead of 2. Robert Walton trying to figure out a way to get around him while also hanging out in front of Aaron Smith, but Smith's going to have something to say about it. Will Smith finally be able to clear these lap cars as they head down into turns 1 and 2? Now exiting down the backstretch, they'll go by the big screen TV where they'll see themselves side by side headed down into turn 3. Walton not letting up on the outside as Justin Clapper being the foil for Aaron Smith on the outside. Looks like Cody Johnson, Chris, is trying a different line. A little bit loose out of turn 4 for Johnson, but he might have gained a little bit on Smith there. Might have found something, Chris, in the final 10 laps of this run. I'm curious to see if Cody Johnson goes back up to the top, if he can clear these lap cars. But Chris, right now, they are being a big old thorn for Aaron Smith and Cody Johnson.
They are, and they are battling for position as Robert Walton runs into the wall here on the backstretch, but they're battling for position. Both of them are 1 lap down, now 2 laps down if Aaron Smith can complete this pass. They're battling it out for the 9th and 10th positions here, so yeah, they're in their race and they're racing their race. They do have fresher tires as well than these leaders. Both of them have about 15 lap fresher tires. Robert Walton has about 20 lap fresher tires. So they've got a little bit fresher tire here, and I think that's just kind of making this a little bit difficult for these leaders. The fact that these guys have a little bit fresher tires, but that the 70 and the 30, the 08 still have good pace even at this stage of the run.
And Chris, this is something I think we might learn a little bit of a lesson from, especially as we inch towards the finish of this race. I noticed that 63, Justin Clapper, lap down, was doing a really good job of keeping the 70 of Aaron Smith kind of pinned down to the bottom. What's the power in kind of keeping your inside competitor pinned down to the bottom when you're side by side? How does that give the outside car an advantage?
Just kind of bogs it, forces that guy on the inside to maybe put a little bit more wheel into it. And with these cars being underpowered as is, bogging them down like that, these are very momentum-based cars, Ellis, which means being able to keep your foot in the throttle longer. Cody Johnson is struggling to he's struggling to wrap the inside there in 1 and 2. I mean, that's just old tires right there, but. He's trying to bog that car down on the inside. He's also trying to keep that guy on the inside to not open up the wheel. I'll be honest, if you're a guy on the lead lap right here, this is
contact there between Johnson and Clapper.
This is very frustrating if you're a guy on the lead lap for drivers that are a couple laps down to be running that close to your door like that. It's extremely frustrating, but they're keeping their cool here.
Unnerving. It definitely limits the maneuverability of that inside car. Clapper right now, so watch this. It's not a battle for position.
He's not keeping his cool.
Clapper and Johnson come together. I think Johnson had kind of seen enough. He's going to slide out in front of Clapper, who's going to go back to the inside. They're going to have to be careful headed through the dogleg here at Charlotte, Chris. And I'm just a little bit surprised to see the raciness from the car that is now definitely a lap down on the second place car. I'm not sure if there's some history there or it's just good old-fashioned tight racing. But yeah, you would think in the closing laps here, with maybe the stakes a little bit lower for the 63 to show a little bit of deference to the 08. But we're not out on the track, we're not in the car, so we'll avoid jumping to conclusions. All's fair in love and war and racing, right? And Justin Clapper's got certainly a fast race car. Top 10 run going for that 63. He's racing Robert Walton. Maybe, Chris, this might answer the question why Clapper was trying to hold his position as long as possible, because he knew that 66 was coming. And now they're side by side. This is indeed a battle for position. First two cars 2 laps down here. It's Lashinsky in that white car on the outside and Robert Walton in that Bass Pro Shops number 66 on the inside.
Yeah, I'm really glad that nothing took off right there because my message to Cody Johnson would be, you're still in this race, you still got a shot to win. Just keep your calm, be cool here, and yeah, they have recovered right here, and yeah, this battle right here is gonna continue on right here. These two guys right here, the 63 and the 66, are both 2 laps down, Clapper and Walton. Lashinsky ahead of both of them in the running order. Behind them on the track is just 1 lap down in the 7th spot as they make contact right here. Lashinsky and Walton down the backstretch.
Lashinsky and Walton, hardcore racing. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're 183 laps into this thing. It looks like some drivers are having a hard time running a straight line on the straightaways at this point of the race. And that might be a sign of some fatigue setting in, Ellis. We're pretty deep in this thing right here, and sometimes it seems like, well, why would you not run a straight line on the straightaway? Well, you get a little bit tired. You've been doing this a while. You get a little bit worried, and they make contact again on the backstretch. There's a lot of...
The mind begins to wonder.
There's a lot of weaving going on right here, and I think that's kind of, I think that's causing, a little bit of a headache for some of these guys right now, but...
Ooh.
Oh, no! We got a car!
There goes the number... Lashinsky, the number 99.
He saved it.
Great save. I thought that was going to put us under caution for the first time tonight, which is going to answer the question for Connor Lyons in the chat. Connor, I don't want to say it. I'm going to knock on wood as I say it, but no cautions yet. 65 laps ago as we watch a replay of this 3-wide battle that turned into near disaster for Stephen Lashinsky in the 99.
Yeah, great save by him. Great job by Robert Walton as well to back off right here, allow Lashinsky to save that without running all over him. So good job by everybody there.
Great job. And hey, so far in the chat, great job for a couple people playing trivia. We've got Killshot with 2 points on the board. We got Chris Deweese with 1 point on the board. Here's question number 3. Still a chance to get in and even win the free 1/64 scale diecast car giveaway before the end of the evening. Your question now has been posted in the chat. First 2 correct answers will get a point. What animal faced off against the Nutcracker in the Nutcracker Ballet by Tchaikovsky? What animal faced off against the Nutcracker in the Nutcracker Ballet by Tchaikovsky, which kind of popularized the Nutcracker in the zeitgeist of world culture when it became famous? We'll let that one simmer. That question's posted in the chat. Give us your best answer or your even best guess for that. First 2 correct answers will get a point on the board for that free diecast giveaway. Right now, Aaron Smith is your leader. Cody Johnson's fallen about 2.3 seconds back. Chris, Sean Anderson 10 seconds back. Levi Cox 2 seconds back from him. Braxton Deweese, Chris, is in 5th place. He's kind of climbed his way back after a small gaffe coming down pit road, running out of gas, but he's got Travis Stroney not too far behind him. I know we got a Stroney fan in the chat. Braxton Deweese racing hard against Travis Stroney. Try to hold off that number 44 for the 5th position. But yeah, Braxton's been up and down over the course of the evening. He's one who just grits it out and always finds a way to work his way back up in the field. Chris, hoping to hold off that 44 of Travis Stroney right now.
Yeah, he is, and yeah, a little bit of a tough night for Braxton. I know that he's used to running up there near the front, so yeah, he's definitely gritting it out though. And if we do get a caution as Levi Cox does come to pit road, I wouldn't count that guy out. Being in the 5th spot here, I wouldn't count him out on a late race restart to be able to make up some ground. So Levi Cox coming to pit road right here. I think Levi feels that he can, there's 60 laps to go here. This is going to be his final pit stop of the race if we stay green to the end of this thing.
This is going to be interesting. Cox going to try to get an advantage maybe. I don't know if he's going to have enough time or a close enough, kind of a small enough gap to the leader to have this make a huge difference in terms of going for the win. But Levi Cox is going to be the first taker really on this pit cycle, it looks like. We'll wait to see how Aaron Smith and Cody Johnson respond. Cody Johnson doesn't wait long. He is on pit road, Chris, this time by in that 08. Cody Johnson pulling the same strategies he did last time. It took Aaron Smith about 30 laps to pass Cody Johnson the last pit cycle. We're going to see what happens. Maybe Cody Johnson learned something in terms of tire conservation. So keep an eye out on that '08. We'll also be waiting to see when Aaron Smith comes down pit road. This could be a big difference. Last time it was 3 laps later than Cody Johnson.
Oh, man, and Lashinsky and Clapper are banging doors coming onto pit road, Ellis. I saw them up at the top of the screen as we were looking at Cody Johnson right there. They were side by side, and, man, it almost looked like they were going to go into the barrels there at pit road entrance.
That was a close one indeed. So beating and banging going out on the racetrack, but also down pit road. We're going to keep an eye on these drivers right now. It looks like the only 2 cars not to have come down pit road, Braxton Deweese, now Aaron Smith, still out on the track. He feels good about that car. It would definitely seem as he's been the last one to pit nearly every single pit cycle. He heads down the back straightaway right now, Chris, looking to extend his lead. But Cody Johnson, I'm curious. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be the really what kind of sets us up for the finish. I think without a caution, we're looking at Aaron Smith, Cody Johnson, 1 car loose, trying to come down pit road. That was, I believe, was that Clapper?
I think that was Travis Stroney right there. Right in front of Cody Johnson, right?
Yeah, that was right in front of the 08.
Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, he was able to hold on to it, though. A great save by Stroney as Sean Anderson sets new fastest lap right here, a 30.393. Yeah, Ellis, what we said before at the beginning of this race.
Yeah. Oh! Go ahead. Sorry, I watched him almost get in the 99 of Steve Lashinsky. Sean Anderson, he's got to go. If he's going to do anything, 1 car in the wall right in front of those guys. Can he keep it off the wall here? Momentarily gathers it back up. I believe that might have been Bo Condon. And there's Aaron Smith merging back onto the track after a pit stop here moments ago. This is the battle for the lead. Cody Johnson to the outside of Smith. Can he close the door? He does. Aaron Smith in second. Cody Johnson to the lead. 3 car links now on Aaron Smith.
Yeah, Cody Johnson doing what he's done on every single pit cycle so far in this race. He's going to take the lead. But it's still at the same amount of tires. 3 laps, the difference between them. Aaron Smith got 3 lap fresher tires and 55 laps to pass Cody Johnson. Man, Cody's done a really good job tonight. He's gonna have a tough road ahead of him if he's gonna hold off Aaron Smith. I feel like he's almost done everything that he can. He has taken the lead on all these cycles. He's tried to pit as close to Aaron as possible. He's tried to stretch it, but still try to come earlier than him. He's definitely putting up quite the fight to Aaron Smith tonight. But I think he's going to have a hard time here. We're going to watch to see how it plays out, though.
And you never know. We might have a caution. We've been caution-free for the first 196 laps here. The Nutcracker 250. Aaron Smith calm, cool, and collected with a 94 beats per minute heart rate. I think that's BPM, right? Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. And we're setting up for the final 53 laps of this race, Chris. I think this is a great opportunity to take our last commercial break of the race. We'll be back after hearing from some of our partners.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
Into the wall. Caution's going to be out. Let me know when we're back.
We're back. We're live.
Cody Johnson into the wall. We're going to remain under green. That's going to be the race for him. The leader at that moment, loose off of turn 4. We're looking live at that car totaled, hit the pit wall entry barrels.
Oh, my God.
And boy, Chris, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
That was insane. Yeah, I tried to get us back live as possible. Sorry about that, coming back maybe a little bit too soon. But, yeah, we're right on board right here with Cody Johnson. And I think maybe on that white and blue line, I think that it brought him around, just de-wedged that car a little bit. And, oh, my gosh, just head on into the tires, or into the barrels, I should say, right there.
Yeah. That was just at the worst possible place, and when he's in that slide, you can't really steer out of that slide, but you also can't steer away from those barrels. You're kind of a victim to physics and gravity at that point. And boy, you hate to see that for a guy who's led much of this race and been the closest competition to Aaron Smith. Lose it here on lap 203. Cody Johnson out of the race after an amazing run much of the evening, Chris. That's going to leave Aaron Smith, really, Levi Cox and Sean Anderson. If we're looking at 3 cars that are really the ones we're going to be talking about here in terms of a shot at the win, if any two are going to be able to do it against Aaron Smith, it's going to be Cox and Anderson. Braxton DeWeese is fast, but he's back in 4th position, about 27 seconds back. Long race, caution freeze kind of create a bit of a spread between the field. If you're just joining us now here at Charlotte for the final 45 laps of the TNT Series Nutcracker 250, their crown jewel. It's an endurance race, and these drivers, Cody Johnson, had really been putting on a great show all night. And just one mistake, Chris, one mistake puts you out of the race in the final 5th of it. Had to run 200 laps. That's painful to watch for Cody Johnson. I hate that for him. Aaron Smith is scored as your leader. Levi Cox second. Sean Anderson in the 20. He's been fast all day, Chris. That's a battle going on right now with Cox. Sean Anderson is close to the back bumper of second place. Levi Cox, that's the closest battle going out on the track right now. That number 20 has been fast. I don't know if he's fast enough to catch the 70 without a caution, but he's certainly going to have the speed to potentially work his way by Levi Cox down the front straightaway, maybe down into turn 1 is going to be where we see this pass happen.
Possibly. Sean Anderson looking to the inside right here, nothing doing. And Levi Cox runs right in front of him right there in turns 1 and 2. Sean Anderson going to do a nice job, though, of turning back down right here. And it's kind of a guessing game right here if you are Levi Cox. Maybe trying to run in the in front of the 20 of Sean Anderson right here to put some dirty air on the nose of that number 20.
Upset that front end of the number 20 just a little bit. Looks like it might have worked there on that last lap. Gained about a car length or 2 car lengths over Sean Anderson in that kind of campaign to hold the 20 back from gaining the second position. Levi Cox continues to hold serve at second. Sean Anderson third, Braxton DeWeese fourth, Travis Stroney. We've got some Stroney fans in the chat. I think Killshot's a Stroney fan in the chat. He's sitting in the 5th position. I believe we do owe a trivia answer. We had a couple guesses in the chat, but unfortunately none of them were correct. We heard lion, we heard leopard, but Chris, do you know the correct answer for what animal took on the Nutcracker in the Tchaikovsky opera?
Is it a mouse?
Or the ballet. It is a mouse or a rat. Either answer would have been acceptable. You see it played differently in different versions of it, but it is the Mouse King or the Rat King that the Nutcracker famously took on in that ballet. So Chris DeWeese says squirrels. Close enough. That was close. Good.
Rodents.
Good guess. Rodent in the rodent family for sure. Great job, everyone, so far. Appreciate you tuning in, playing with us in the chat for some trivia points. No one's going to get a point on that one. The leaderboard is Killshot with 2, Chris DeWeese with 1, everyone else with none. We're going to have one more question. Chris, you're going to have one more opportunity to potentially draw even and force a tiebreaker with Killshot here with one final trivia question later on in the race. So small animals defeat a big toy, right? Like, hey, rats are feisty. Rats are feisty for sure. Speaking of feisty, Steven Lashinsky, man, 11 positions up on the night in the 6th position. That 99 has got some moxie in him tonight as we watch that Monster Jam truck, or car, I should say, roll around the back straightaway. 3 wide in front of him, though. That's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking to look out the windshield and see 3 cars right on top of each other. The 25 of Bo Condon almost gets in the back of Robert Walton in that 66. We avoid catastrophe down the front straightaway, and Steven Lashinsky probably had to hold his breath there for a moment.
Yeah, we really need to not tear up that 25 car as looks like the 20 Sean Anderson. Yeah, we cannot tear up that 25 car. We just can't
Anderson
do it, Mo.
Wiggles down the back stretch. He is wiggling hard down the back stretch. Whoa, that was a close moment for the 20.
He was definitely fighting it. He was fighting it for a few corners right there. It looks like he's committed here in the last lap or two to go up to the top. I don't know if that's as a means to try to, rip the fence and try to gain some ground right here on Levi Cox, like maybe throwing a little bit of a Hail Mary at him, but we still got a ways to go right here. So let's try to make it to the end of this thing right here, Sean.
What do you got, a Peanuts paint scheme on that number 20 car? The first time I've taken a good look at it tonight. That's a good-looking paint scheme. I love the Peanuts. I love the Peanuts Thanksgiving and Christmas specials. Love all the holiday specials, to be honest. But do you like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree? I noticed this is like a trend that has been coming out recently with people having these kind of dinky little Charlie Brown look-alike Christmas trees. What do you think of that?
I guess that it's kind of, I don't know. I wouldn't do it, me personally, but nothing against Peanuts, but I wouldn't do it. This is definitely a paint scheme I don't want to see tore up either, Ellis.
Yeah.
We gotta make sure that a couple of these make it to the end of this thing.
Yep, we've had some close calls over the course of the evening, but it's been a clean and green race, all but the leader, Cody Johnson, sliding in the pit wall sand or water barrels, taking him out of the race from the lead just moments ago. 35 laps left, hoping to make it 100% under green flag conditions tonight for a 375-mile race, Chris. And I don't think we can understate that as we see Chris DeWeese chiming in from Braxton DeWeese's pit box. BDR fans doing the caution flag dance right now. Well, we're running out of time, Chris, but you never know what might happen here. Aaron Smith out to an 11-second lead.
And I think the reason why...
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the reason why they're doing a caution dance is because... Braxton DeWeese, I think, is the next car in line to go a lap down. He is in the sights of Aaron Smith right here, and definitely want to have a caution to stay on the lead lap of this thing and possibly be able to fight it out on a restart.
Yeah, man. Aaron Smith just putting on a clinic tonight. Chris, this is almost as long as a normal NASCAR Cup Series race. So we're talking about really a test of mettle, a test of skill for these drivers as they cycle lap after lap after lap. And as the sun goes down, where we have a lot of separation on the track, this can become monotonous. This is a challenge for these drivers to just keep their eyes open and to stay alert and to really hit their rhythm each and every lap. And Aaron Smith has really just been the best at doing that tonight. I would say Cody Johnson was right there with him until one mistake kind of led to the end of the race for that 08.
Yeah, and that's very unfortunate for him. I felt like he had definitely put up a really good fight against
the weeks in the wall there a little bit.
Yeah, Aaron all night and gave it all he had for sure. And I know he's disappointed they can't see the end of this thing as Aaron Smith looks to the inside of Braxton Reese. But man, what a heck of a night tonight by these guys. This is I think that Chase Leahy called this kind of like their crown jewel race here in TNT, and I think that they're going to be very, very happy with the outcome of this tonight. A lot of cars showed up, a lot of people participating with the special paint schemes, and some supreme driving talent on display.
Yeah, we've seen a great race tonight. Just cycling through the field, looking at close battles we've got going on right now. Obviously, Aaron Smith just made his way by Braxton Louise to put him a lap down. Now, all but 3 cars have been put a lap down in the closing, waning laps of this race. Tyler Dalton, Chris, has continued to close up on the back of Steven Lashinsky, who's up to 6th position. Looking, Travis Stroney is way further up ahead of them. This is kind of the closest battle we've got going on the track right now. And Lashinsky's trying to hold off the lap car, the car on the lead lap of Sean Anderson. Anderson trying to work his way by Steven Lashinsky here in that 99, and really not much having any success doing it here on lap 221 of 250.
Yeah, he wants to get around Lashinsky right here because he sees that guy in second just ahead of Levi Cox. He wants to try to make a run at Levi, and we've seen these 2 cars. I feel like the one, you talk about the 08 and the 70 all night, sort of like when one's been faster than the other. I feel like we've seen the 1 and the 20 around each other for just a large portion of the 250 laps that we're going to run tonight. I feel like they've been around each other quite a bit from beginning to this point, so they're pretty equal in speed right here. Looks like that Anderson's going to see if he can work his way around Lashinsky. I think Anderson had a bad few corners several laps ago where he got up high. I think maybe he got out of his groove a little bit, tagged the wall, kind of messed things up just a little bit for him. But he's making a run back at Levi Cox. Yeah, that's close into 3.
Sean Anderson right up to the back bumper of that 99 of Steven Lashinsky as they work their way through turns 3 and 4 down the front straightaway. You mentioned it. Sean Anderson really tried to do his best as he has the door closed by Lashinsky. Now he darts to the outside, to the high line, and try to make a go at it up top. Sean Anderson really doing what he can to close the gap on Levi Cox here, Chris. And if you're Cox, this battle is meaningful because Cox now, with this, he's just 1 point behind Aaron Smith, and he wants to lose as little ground as possible tonight in the points for Smith and be that regular season champion. And right now, Smith's going to have the advantage, and Cox just doesn't want to give up that extra position. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that battle as Levi Cox keeping an eye on his rearview mirror and Sean Anderson. Looking for drivers we haven't mentioned much tonight that are still out on the track. Seeing who we can talk about. We talked about Ricky Mandela Sr. Let's talk about that 11th place driver right now. 5 laps down, but hanging tough in the 11th position. Chris, this was the paint scheme winner on the evening. Watching this 28 roll around here. It's a good-looking car.
Yeah, Elliston, I don't know if the paint scheme showed up. Did it show up?
I don't think it did, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it showed up.
Wasn't loaded into trading paints, but we apologize for not having that Christmas special from what was the paint scheme winner on the evening for the custom paint schemes. But I will say this, I know that Animal House Customs was the sponsor on that paint scheme. I just don't think it was that correct paint scheme. So, good looking paint scheme either way, but right now he's got the 79 of Anthony Burleson working his way by. This is not a battle for position. Burleson 2 laps ahead of Ricky Mandela Sr. But yeah, Ricky's just a guy in this 28 who comes out here every week and runs clean laps pretty much 99% of the race and just logs his laps. That's what you look for. And just quality drivers in any league is drivers who want to go out there and learn and watch other drivers and just kind of race to their current, car level and ability level. And Ricky does that week in and week out, and that's why you're seeing him continuously. I think he gets a little bit better every single week, running the 11th position right now in that 28. Ricky Mandela doing a great job out there.
And Ellis, what makes this paint scheme better than anything else on this car is the fact that he's got the number 28 on it.
You're a big fan of that 28, aren't you? I think that's the number that you typically run every single week.
That's right.
When we race in our league. So, yeah, I can see the partiality there. We try not to be biased in the booth, but, it happens. Hey, we got a request in the chat, Chris. Connor wants to crank it up. Can we give him one crank it up before the end of this race? You want to do it now?
I think that we can do that. I think we can do that, Connor.
Let's do it. All right, back here from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway for the TNT Series, Nutcracker 250. Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. We got about 20 laps left here. Aaron Smith is cruising out front, 14.5 seconds ahead of Levi Cox. Sean Anderson about 7/10 off the back bumper of Levi Cox. Braxton DeWeese is a lap down, trying to get that lap back. But Chris, pending any sort of caution, I think Aaron Smith might be walking away to a win here with about 19 laps left in the books. It is, we're looking around the track. Everyone, I think, is just maybe ready to hit lap number 250. It's been an enduro race, so to speak, and drivers just kind of minding their own business, petering around the track right now. I will say this, Braxton DeWeese got a nice little battle going on, actually, with Travis Stroney. Actually, no, that's not Travis Stroney. That is the 63 of Justin Clapper. On different laps, but nice little battle going on the track. Clapper's going to let him go there on the inside. Hey, in the chat right now, Chris, Cody Johnson, he made an appearance in the chat. Said that appreciate the opportunity to race tonight. He said that mistake was awful. Hey, man, mistakes happen. We hated to see it for you, but you put on a great show all night long. Really just the closest competitor to Aaron Smith. Maybe had a shot to win, but who knows? Don't beat yourself up too hard about it. That is part of the experience. Part of being a racer is, holding your chin up when things don't always go your way. But we appreciate you stopping in the chat and dropping us a line saying hello. Chris, we got one more trivia question on the evening.
Right,
our two closest competitors in trivia are Killshot and Chris DeWeese. Killshot's got it by 1 point right now. If DeWeese can get the point here, it'll force an overtime tiebreaker. So here's a question. Here is your question. This is an engineering geared question. What mechanical principle allows a traditional nutcracker to crack nuts? What mechanical? We are doing race cars here. What mechanical principle allows a nutcracker to crack nuts? What mechanical principle? I will give 3 different options. First option, choice A, gravity. Is it A, gravity, B, leverage, or C, inertia? Gravity, leverage, or inertia. What mechanical principle allows a nutcracker to crack nuts? Got one guess in here. Leverage for Chris DeWeese. Leverage for Killshot. Connor Lyons says inertia. We'll reveal the answer here in just a couple of laps. We'll give some other folks some opportunities to guess. But Chris DeWeese says lever. Killshot says leverage. Connor Lyons says inertia. Chris, what do you think?
This is This has never been my area of expertise, anything that has to do with physics. I'm going to say leverage as well. I would think leverage just by the options that you have to work with. That's what I'm going to say.
All right. Well, hey, the answer is indeed leverage. Chris DeWeese was the first one to get it, but Killshot also got leverage as well, and that is the correct answer. So with that, Killshot, you are the winner in trivia tonight. Congratulations on that. Send us an email at ssracingleagues@gmail.com. We're going to put that in the chat, and you can just drop us a line, let us know your address and where to send this diecast to, and we'll get it out in the mail.
And I believe that Killshot is here for Anthony Burleson. I think he's a Burleson fan right here. And we'll put that Burleson machine up there on the screen one more time right here as in his moment of triumph right here, winning. And yeah, he's got that Home Alone special right up here in the top 10, running in the 9th spot. And he's got some fresh tires on that machine as well, so compared to everybody else in the top 10. So I think he's going to be looking to see if he can make up some more ground.
They'll make you feel like Superman, won't they?
They sure will, especially on a long night like this.
So Killshot says, awesome, thank you guys. Shout out to my brother, 44. Is that actual family blood? Is that your brother, or are you just using that term loosely? Let us know, Killshot, if that is indeed your brother. Aaron Smith, right now. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I might have got him mixed up right there. Yeah, there's Stroney right there in the 44. Yeah, that was my fault. Yeah, he's running in the 5th spot, having a great run in that number 44 in his first race here in TNT.
Yep, Killshot says, indeed, it is his older brother. How about that? Cool. I'm glad you tuned in, Killshot. Glad everyone tuned in. Thanks, Cody Johnson, for subscribing. And that's a great reminder. If you haven't subscribed to Slingshot Racing Media's channel, make sure you do so. You'll get access to these races, the TNT series. We're also going to be doing a new series on Monday nights starting in the new year, so be on the lookout for that as well. All sorts of track guide videos for iRacing, as well as some reviews. So make sure to subscribe if you have not already done so. Right now, Aaron Smith scored as your leader. 10 to go here. Final 10 laps, final 25th of this race coming up. 250 laps from Charlotte. That's a long one, Chris, but these drivers have put on a hell of a show all night long. Cox is second. Sean Anderson is in third, and that gap has kind of stabilized and even grown between Cox and Anderson, Chris. I think Anderson took a run at Cox, but just did not go the way he had hoped, and he's probably have to settle for third position here. Braxton DeWeese, we got some DeWeese fans in the chat tonight. Braxton running fourth. Good run going, but I don't think it's probably the run he had hoped for after sitting on the pole, Chris, tonight. Braxton DeWeese going to have to settle for a fourth position. Pending, we don't have a caution in these final 8 laps, because if we did, it would put Braxton DeWeese back on the lead lap as the lucky dog. So Travis Stroney 5th, Steven Lashinsky 6th, Tyler Dalton. Great run going for Tyler tonight in his first race with the TNT Series, starting in the 15th position. He's climbed 8 positions on the evening in that 48. Great work by him. Chris DeWeese says, Merry Christmas to all. Absolutely, Chris. You as well. We are so glad to see you back in a Slingshot Racing chat. Cannot wait to see you again next time. Absolutely. If you're watching, if you've got a league you want broadcast, just get in touch with us, and we'll see if we can't make it work. Our time is limited. Our availability is limited, but we do have Mondays open in January, so let us know if you've got a league you might be interested in broadcasting. Chris, you've done a great job on these shots. It's difficult for the drivers to keep their concentration over 250 laps, but being in the booth for 250 laps is no cakewalk either. But these drivers have given us a lot to talk about. They put on an absolutely great show tonight. I can't imagine this having gone any better. With right now 245 laps under the green flag conditions, just 5 to go here at Charlotte. Aaron Smith just about 4 laps away from victory.
Yeah, he's very, very close, getting closer, and this is right here our closest battle on the track. Steven Lashinsky currently in the 6th spot. Tyler Dalton in the 48 in the 7th spot. Dalton is charging. A great run off of turn 2. Peeking to the inside right here. I would say, Ellis, that this is our most likely opportunity, not only to see a pass, but maybe some contact, as these guys are getting really close here off of turn 4.
You watch your mouth. You do not say anything about a caution right now, a young man. That's the second transgression you've had tonight. The first one was mentioning the race car tickling the apron. I don't want to hear anything about a caution as we watch Tyler Dalton work his way by Steven Lashinsky. That was a battle for the 6th position. Dalton advances one. Lashinsky falls to 7th. He might have something to say about it in that Monster Jam number 99. He swings it to the bottom as Tyler Dalton, almost into the wall, carries momentum off the corner. They're neck and neck at the line now, Chris. Just about 4 laps left in the books. Aaron Smith's being scored as your leader coming off of turn number 4 right now to take us to 3 to go. But you mentioned this is a great battle going on between Lashinsky and Dalton. Lashinsky gets it. Dalton's going to pull the crossover and try to get it back.
Yeah, he's crossing him up right here going into turn 3. This is going to be a hard pass right here for Dalton to make. At this stage of the run right here, 55 laps on these tires, being able to rotate through the center of the quarter is so difficult. But he's still neck and neck right here with Lashinsky. They almost banged doors going into turn 1.
Side by side, down in.
Lashinsky
into the wall. Can he save it? He does. It's his second good hands move of the race for Lashinsky. 2 saves tonight. That was the second one. He still has a chance to get by Dalton. Look how deep he drives it down into turn 3. Yes, he gets the apron, and boy, he was giving it his all. There was the 48 of Dalton off the wall. This is the best battle of the track. Coming to 2 to go here, Chris. They're going to have 2 more laps to settle this. Dalton and Lashinsky. This is some of the craziest racing we've seen all night. Aaron Smith, you're not missing anything out front. Smith is the leader by 16 seconds. Point here. If there is a caution, the race will end under caution. We do not do green, white, checkered flag finishes in the TNT series. Aaron Smith has taken the white flag. It's not going to matter either way. That 70 is rolling his way down the backstretch by the TV screen, down into turn 3, now going into turn 4. It's going to be Aaron Smith in his ugly Christmas sweater number 70 that wins the Nutcracker 250 tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, Dalton and Lashinsky looks like they've settled it. Lashinsky's going to advance past Dalton. Cox is going to finish second. Sean Anderson back in 3rd position. Cox has yet to cross the line yet, Chris. That's how big of a win it was for Smith. Cox officially crosses the line to take second. Sean Anderson not too far behind in 3rd position. That is your podium tonight. And boy, wow. The lead wasn't exciting, Chris, but that battle for the 6th position, whew, rustled my jimmies there just a little bit as we watch the fireworks go off down the back straightaway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Aaron Smith is your winner. We're going to take a moment to get things keyed up so we can hear from Sean Anderson, Levi Cox, and Aaron Smith in the broadcast booth momentarily. I'm hoping we're going to have access to Sean Anderson, see if he is in the chat, and I'm not sure if he is. We might not be able to hear from the driver of that number 20. We might have to go directly to Levi Cox. Give it a moment, see if he shows up, though.
We'll give it a moment right here as this race right here, Aaron Smith, he doesn't gain a ton of points, but he does gain some points on Levi Cox, as Levi is definitely keeping this point situation interesting with his consistent finishes. But it was just a really, really dominant run for Aaron tonight on the long run, as nobody could touch him in the latter stages of a pit cycle.
It's also looking to see if we might be able to get Braxton DeWeese in here.
It looks like Sean Anderson is in the waiting room, Ellis.
Oh, he did pop in there. Okay, good. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and hear from Sean Anderson. We'll pull him into the broadcast booth, and here we go.
You were there for points.
Hey,
there to have fun.
Sean Anderson, sound like you were having fun out there, man. This is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. You got a copy, sir?
I got a copy. What's going on, guys?
Hey, man, it was a wild race out there tonight, 250 laps. You put on a great show. You had a lot of speed over the course of the evening after starting second. Talk to us about how the race kind of progressed. We noticed you fell back in the beginning, but kind of climbed your way back. What was the car driving like out there? What was the biggest challenge for you?
I wasn't really sure which way the car was going to build. It was starting to get loose there in the beginning. ARCA car usually gets tight, and I was kind of doubting myself and kind of overdrove the entry, leaning on the right front so I wouldn't get too loose, and then it just made it tight the first run. Second run felt really loose, so I kind of leaned on the right front again, and it just kept burning the right front off of it. And I didn't realize it was too late in the race to try to get any position back. It was a lot of fun though.
Man, we talked about it all night. It felt like you and Levi Cox just could not get away from each other on the track. Have you ever raced with Levi before? Did you have fun out there racing tonight?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. He raced me clean. I tried to race him clean. I don't know if I've ever raced with him before, but that was an awesome battle. It seemed like every time we come off pit road, we'd be around each other just about every time.
Well, man, we enjoyed having you out there tonight. We'd love to see you back for the final 6 races of the season or so. You're welcome anytime. I know all drivers who race tonight are welcome back to race the rest of the season. Before we let you go and contemplate that, you got any shout-outs that you'd like to give?
Yeah, shout outs to you guys, put on a good broadcast. All the guys put on the league, that was a lot of fun. It doesn't happen too often where you get a league race that goes 250 laps without a caution, so that was awesome. Shout out to Cody Johnson for racing it with me, Tyler Dalton. They race with me every night, so glad they could join me there. And congrats to Aaron on the win. He was fast and dominant tonight. That was an awesome win by him.
All right, man, congrats on that 3rd place finish. Go out there and celebrate. Appreciate it, Sean Anderson.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. All right, so we were talking about Levi Cox. Chris, we'll go ahead and move that 2nd place finisher into the broadcast booth.
Levi Cox, this is the Slingshot Racing Media booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well, man. Not as good as you, though, man. This is it seems like we're talking to you just about every single week up here. Great run tonight. We were talking to 3rd place finisher Sean Anderson. It seemed like you guys just couldn't get away from each other all night. Y'all put on a heck of a show. What was the car driving like out there tonight? It definitely seemed like you guys were battling some tire wear.
Yeah, it was fun. Definitely burning the right front off, and then you could move up the track and it would get a little loose on you, but it was pretty fun out there.
It definitely seemed like it. We were talking about that battle between you and Sean Anderson when we had Sean in the broadcast booth, and he was talking about how much fun it was. It seems like you guys just kind of came off pit road together, side by side, did a lot of battling, door handle to door handle. Was it as much fun out there on the track as it looked up here from the broadcast booth?
Oh yeah, it was fun to race around him. Hope he continues racing in this league, but that first run we kind of had the same tire strategy and stayed right near each other. In the second run I tried to save a little bit and never really got back to him, and then that 3rd run I wanted to pit early and jump ahead of him. I felt like I could hold him off, but there's some tight racing there and definitely fun and for the most part clean, so I pinched him in the wall there, so I don't know.
Well, it was definitely hard racing, and you guys were battling it out all night long. It was entertaining to watch for all 250 laps tonight, caution-free. Definitely a great accomplishment for you guys here in TNT. We'll go to Indianapolis next week and no doubt see just as good racing. Before we let you go celebrate the 2nd place finish, do you got any shout-outs?
Yeah, crew chief Larry Yingling, you guys for the broadcast. Y'all do a great job. It's always fun to go back and watch these. Chase for putting on the league. Morgan, my fiance now, for letting me do this. And
Hey, congratulations on
Yeah,
that. by the way.
congrats, man.
thank you. Exciting times.
All right, man. Well, hey, congratulations. That is Levi Cox, our 2nd place finisher tonight. Go celebrate this run, bud.
Thanks, sir. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
You too. All right, so you heard from 2nd place. That means it is time to hear from the 1st place finisher, Aaron Smith. You're the winner tonight. It's Ellis and Chris in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, I've got you.
Man, well, it was an ugly car, but it wasn't an ugly race for you, I should say. And that number 70, you really stretched out over the course of the long run tonight, Aaron. Talk to us about that first run. We noticed you falling back. I'm curious about tire conservation on the first run versus as it went through the race. Did you learn anything? As the sun went down, did the tire wear fall off a little bit?
Yeah, it did, but the plan was the same from the start. Just save as much fuel as I could in the first run, then run a little harder over the next 3. And I was able to save enough fuel to pit. I think it was 1 or 2 laps after the next car in line, so I was able to use that to my advantage, have the fresher tires, and have an advantage on the rest of the field for the rest of the night. And it took me 200 laps to be able to race somebody, and he wrecked immediately. So I hate to have kind of spooked him there. I think he was giving me space, but I don't know if he hit the end of the pit wall or not. But that certainly didn't look good in my mirror.
Oh yeah, he took a header straight on into the pit wall. It was an unfortunate set of circumstances for sure. But man, you ripped it out there all night long. Hey, that paint scheme. What was the inspiration for that?
Oh, it was just a Christmas sweater. Nothing too fancy. Like it's the kind of sweater your grandma'd make for you, and then you wouldn't really like it all that much because it'd be a little itchy, but you still wear it anyway to make her happy and all that. So I figured I'd put that on my car. It may be pretty ugly, but it ran well tonight.
It definitely ran well. You got to make some merch of that ugly Christmas sweater. Man, you're going to stretch out the points just a little bit over Levi Cox. This is a battle that y'all have got going on, and I think we're going to see probably go down to the final race of the season as we get ready to enter the playoffs in just a few races. We're headed to Indy next week, though. How much different of a race is that going to be versus what we saw tonight?
The agenda is going to be about the same. Just run as tight a line as you can, save the right side tires, and don't crash into the end of the pit wall, and you should be okay. My approach is going to be about the same as it was tonight, so I hope everyone's ready.
I'll be looking forward to it, man. Your heart rate never really got that high tonight. You were calm, cool, and collected, and it paid off in the end with a big victory tonight on race number 9 of the TNT Series season. Before we let you go, any shout-outs?
Oh, yeah, as always, I'd like to thank the folks at Thursday Night Thunder for putting this league on. All the folks who showed up for tonight, I hope we can at least keep a couple of them for the rest of the season. Having a 22-car field and still being able to run green the whole way is pretty solid feat, and if we can keep that up, a great rest of the season. But I also like all the folks looking forward. Back at it next week.
All right, that is Aerith Winterton. Goes right, great night. I didn't have it. Had a flag heading angle, not said a little bit different Indy track, but agenda the hook, and as you said, tickle that all along. What do you expect? Aaron Smith finishes by Cox. We heard from him. Sean Anderson finished third. Then DeWeese, Travis Stroney, Steven Lashinsky, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Dalton with the 7th finish, comer to TNT. Anthony Burleson, great job finishing 8th. Robert Walton, fast car all night long, finishes 9th. Justin Clapper with some big moments over the course of the race, finishes 10th. Ricky Mandela Sr. manages an 11th place finish tonight. Good job for Ricky. Joshua Kerner with some early trouble finishes 12th. Bo Condon, maybe one of the best paint schemes of the race, is going to finish 13th. Cody Johnson, story of the race, led much of it. One of the fastest cars, if not the fastest, all night outside of Aaron Smith, is going to have to settle for a 14th place finish after hitting the inside pit retaining wall with just about 70 laps to go in this race. Chase Leahy going to finish 15th. Matt Garrett, fast car all night long, ran into some trouble the second half of the race, finished 16th. Nicholas Tomlinson also running into trouble, 17th. Most of these drivers in the bottom half of the field had trouble early on in the race. Chris Blassie, 18th. Glenn Grimm, 19th. Kyle Chafin, 20th. And Michael Benton with the 21st place finish in that number 29. Chris, I don't know if the audio problem is on my end or your end. Okay,
no,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it was a Discord issue, but I'm not sure if that was just on my end Discord issue or just Discord in general. But I think that our connection was sound the whole time. It just looked like it was an issue with Discord. But we're here, and sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, we are back, and we were just as you saw running through the session results up on the screen. Lots of good runs by drivers tonight. Chris, we're headed to Indy next week. Points battle is probably going to be a 5-point difference between first and second in the points, and just 3 races left headed into the playoffs where the top 10 will re-rack, separated by only 50 points. It's getting good. This was the best race of the season, I think, so far. 250 laps of clean green racing action with our biggest field. Hopefully we can continue that momentum next week at Indianapolis, and I think that's a great place to wrap it up tonight for the Nutcracker 250. We had a lot of fun, good racing, good jokes, good trivia. We hope you will join us next week at Indianapolis for race 10 of 15 on the TNT season. For Slingshot Racing Media, it's been a pleasure tonight. For Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith, so long from Charlotte. We'll see you next week at Indianapolis.